Epic fail. Epic fail.
Good evening, Cibolo. The time is now 6:30, and I would like to call the Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 City Council meeting to order. I have an email from Councilwoman Sanchez Stevens that she is traveling to attend the graduation of her daughter from Basic. May I have a motion to excuse?
Motion to excuse.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. This evening, I would like to invite Chaplain Monteverde up to give us our invocation. Welcome, Police Chaplain Monteverde.
Green light.
Green light on.
Yeah, press that green light right in front. There you go.
Awesome. Hope you can hear me okay.
Sir?
Thank you for being here, and it's a privilege to be here. Please join me as we open in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for loving us, and Lord, for calling us as your children and heirs to the throne of grace and the hope and the promise, Lord, that we have in you. And Lord, we lift the city of Cibolo to you tonight. For the hundreds of workers behind the scene, for the administrators, technicians, specialists, those in the field, and for our police and our fire departments. And Lord, for our elected officials chosen by our incredible citizens. Thank you for our city council, for our mayor, for our city manager, who govern with dedicated efficiency. Bless these proceedings and sustain them with your grace and your mercy tonight, and give them clear insights and wisdom. And we thank you for these things. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now is the time in the evening where we are going to have our proclamations read. The first proclamation will be the National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, read by Councilwoman Cunningham, and being presented to Brandon Rossett from the Thriving Hearts.
Proclamation for National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month. Whereas every 68 seconds, another person in the United States is sexually assaulted, and in Texas, 2 in 5 women and 1 in 5 men are victims of sexual assault. And in fiscal year 2025, Thriving Hearts Crisis Center rendered 552 services to 93 survivors of sexual violence and provided 94 hospital accompaniments for sexual assault exams. Whereas, according to a study conducted by the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault and the University of Texas at Austin Institute on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, approximately 6.3 million Texans have been sexually victimized. Whereas most victims are sexually assaulted by someone they know, and 91% of victims did not report to police. Whereas it is appropriate to salute the more than 20 million victims who have survived sexual assault in the United States and the efforts of victims, volunteers, and professionals who combat sexual assault. Whereas national and community organizations and private sector supporters should be recognized and applauded for their work in promoting awareness about sexual assault. Whereas police, forensic workers, and prosecutors should be recognized and commended for their hard work and innovative strategies to increase the percentage of sexual assault cases that result in the prosecution and incarceration of the offenders. whereas sexual violence is a persistent and pervasive problem in our society, one that requires attention year-round, and in order to foster healthy communities, all citizens must support the effort to end sexual violence every month of the year. And whereas national and community organizations, businesses in the private sector, and the media are urged through National Sexual Assault Awareness of sexual violence and strategies to decrease the incidence of sexual assault. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Kara Latimer, Mayor of the City of Cibolo, do hereby proclaim the month of April as National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month in Cibolo, and urge all citizens to observe this month by supporting the goals and ideas of victims and those working toward awareness and prevention, and by participating in the community efforts. Thriving Hearts, if you're here.
Moving to the National Crime Victim Rights Week, read by Councilwoman Danetta Roberts and presented to Ashton Story, our crime victim liaison in Cibolo.
Proclamation, National Crime Victims' Rights Week in Cibolo, Texas, April 19th through 25th, 2026. Whereas millions of Americans are victims of crime each year, and those crimes also affect family members, friends, neighbors, and coworkers. And whereas crime can leave a lasting physical, emotional, or financial impact on people of all ages and abilities and of all economic, racial, and social backgrounds. And whereas in 1984, the Crime Victims Fund was established by Victims of Crime Act to provide a permanent source of support for crime victim services and compensation through fines and penalties paid by convicted federal offenders. And whereas the Crime Victims Fund today supports thousands of victim assistance programs who provide help and support to child victims of violence and sexual abuse, stalking victims, survivors of homicide victims, victims of drunk driving crashes, and victims of domestic, dating, and sexual violence and other crimes. And whereas by ensuring that federal offender criminal fines and penalties are deposited into the Crime Victims Fund, Congress affirmed that those who commit crimes should be held accountable for the impact of their actions. And whereas the Crime Victims Fund provides victim assistance to millions of crime victims annually and also provides compensation funds to thousands of crime victims each year for reimbursement of expenses related to their victimization. And whereas the victim assistance community faces new challenges to reach and serve all victims, including victims of newly recognized crimes. And whereas now is the time to embrace a new emphasis on learning what works in reaching underserved victims and meeting victims' needs. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to celebrate the energy, creativity, and commitment that launched the victims' rights movement, inspired its progress, and continues to advance the cause of justice for crime victims. And whereas advocates are joining forces with victim service providers, criminal justice agencies, and certain citizens throughout the city of Cibolo and America to raise awareness of victims' rights and observe National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved, in official recognition, the city of Cibolo hereby proclaims the week of April 19th through the 25th, 2026 as National Crime Victims' Rights Week in Cibolo, and affirms the city's commitment to respect and enforce victims' rights and address victims' needs during National Crime Victims' Rights Week and throughout the year, and express our appreciation for those victims and crime survivors who have turned personal tragedies into a motivating force. Sorry, that's all I got. In witness whereof I have here unto set my hand this 14th day of April, 2026. Sorry.
Ms. Story? And now we will present our Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month, read by Councilwoman Marissa Ellen Patterson and received by Michelle Meehan and Christy Williams.
Proclamation, Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. Whereas more than 33,249 cases of child abuse and neglect were confirmed in Texas during fiscal year 2025, and whereas there were 163 confirmed victims of child abuse and neglect in Guadalupe County in fiscal year 2025. And whereas child abuse prevention is a community responsibility and finding solutions depends on involvement among all people. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote and support programs that benefit children and their families. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of the partnerships among a variety of entities, included but not limited to schools, religious organizations, law enforcement agencies, child protective services, prosecution agencies, medical professionals, mental health professionals, SGRC Texas Belong, the Guadalupe County Child Welfare Board, Children's Advocacy Centers, court-appointed special advocates, Bikers Against Child Abuse, and other community-based nonprofit organizations. And whereas everyone in the community should become more aware of child abuse prevention and consider helping parents raise their children in safe, nurturing environments, as well as supporting local professionals dedicated to meeting the needs of child abuse victims. And now, therefore, be it resolved, in official recognition, the City of Cibolo hereby proclaims April 2026 as the Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month in Cibolo, Texas, and urge all citizens to work together to reduce child abuse and neglect and to significantly improve the response of our community when child abuse occurs in the months and years ahead.
Y'all can start coming up.
We are moving on to citizens to be heard. This is the only time during the council meeting that a citizen can address the city council. It is the opportunity for visitors and guests to address the city council on any issue, to include agenda items. All visitors wishing to speak must fill out the sign-in roster prior to the start of the meeting. City council may not deliberate any non-agenda issue, nor may any action be taken on any non-agenda issue at this time. However, City Council may present any factual response to items brought up by citizens. You have a limit of 3 minutes. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body. Remarks may also be addressed to any individual member of the council so long as the remarks are about matters of local public concern and are not disruptive to the meeting or threatening to the member or any attendee, including staff, city staff. Any person violating this policy may be requested to leave the meeting, but no person may be requested to leave or forced to leave the meeting because of the viewpoint expressed. Citizens who want to submit written comments to be read during the citizens' comment portion of City Council meeting should include their name, address, and reason why they are unable to attend the meeting at which they want their comments read. Comments must be submitted to the City Secretary at citysecretary@cibolotx.gov no later than 2 p.m. prior to the City Council meeting. All comments received that include the required information will be provided to the mayor and council and may be summarized or read at the meeting at the discretion of the presiding officer. This meeting is being live streamed. First, I would like to call Steve Shower. Mr. Shower, welcome and good evening.
From across the street, right? Today I come before you as a simple, humble, and very patient 10U softball coach for BVOA, right? Mayor, if you remember last month, you had the opportunity to throw the first pitch to open the BVOA season for baseball and softball. This is very sweet Miss Olivia. She was chosen to be your catcher for that first pitch. She's also the catcher on our team. So what we did for you to help remember that moment, we have the ball and we had our girls sign the ball to present to you. And if you can give me one more second to brag for Miss Olivia, something that we may lose sight of these days, right, is what it means to be a student athlete, right? So while she's not busy being the best catcher in the league, she recently just represented Pasco Elementary for SCUC in UIL competition where she got first in spelling and second in writing. So very good at being a very student athlete. You want to take a picture?
Big smile, Shower. One more. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I would like to call, is it just 2 papers? Eddie Gonzalez. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Eddie Gonzalez, and I'm here representing the Cibolo Professional Firefighters Association, Local 5117 President. This evening, I'd like to share something that is deeply rooted in our fire department history, and something that we are proud to bring back to life, the Cibolo Sausage Supper. For over 70 years, beginning in 1956, the Sausage Supper served more than just a fundraiser. It was a tradition that brought the community together while supporting the Cibolo Volunteer Fire Department. The funds raised helped provide essential equipment, training, and resources that directly contributed to the safety of our citizens. In 2012, that tradition came to an end. And in 2019, the fire department transitioned into a full-time city department, making a new chapter in our service to the community. Now, for the first time in over a decade, we have an opportunity to restore that tradition. The Cibolo Professional Firefighters Association, Local 5117, are proud to lead the effort to bring the Sausage Supper back, not just as an event, but as a symbol of the community connection, support to the fire service, and the pride of our department. This event is more than just food. It's about bringing families together. It's about honoring the history while investing in our future. And it's about continuing the mission of supporting those who serve and protect this community every day. We are committed to do this the right way with organization, transparency, and collaboration. Our goal is to create an event that reflects positively on the City of Cibolo, strengths, and strengthens the relationships between the fire department and the community we serve. We respectfully ask for your support as we move forward with this effort, whether that support comes in the form of resources, coordination, or simply your presence at the event. It'll go a long way in helping us ensure it is a success. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your continued support of the fire department in our community. This event will be at Ernie's Bar on May 2nd from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. We hope to see you there.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I will definitely be there.
What were the times?
Can you,
Thank you.
Thank you all.
thank you. Guy Barrows. Good evening and welcome.
Council members, Mayor. My name is Guy Barrows. I've been resident here for almost 23 years. Did serve on Parks and Rec for 5. But what brings me here tonight is the work that D&D did on Deer Creek Boulevard. At the beginning of the project, I did call the city up and have them come out and look, and we discussed that the levels and the transit shots that they had were not correct, and they weren't going to be draining the water uphill off of the uphill streets, upgrade streets. And the process continued on until it was finished, and there's some corners, and especially my corner, pools with water and debris. There's no drainage there, and I understand that talking with Russell and Adam, there's no money in the budget to have Cibolo verify these numbers from the contractors before these projects are awarded, and I don't understand that. You can discuss that with them and find out what's going on, because if the numbers had been verified, we wouldn't have this problem with the street drainage right now as it is. So they kind of suggested that I show up here tonight and express my concern. And right now, the idea of water standing in those pools and draining, they give them 24 hours. They're not draining. They're actually seeping and percolating back down through the base of the street itself. That's not doing that a bit of good. And I'm telling you, the only way you're going to get out of this, you're going to have to wait till the warranty starts coming due. I think he told me 1 year. And then y'all can start producing process and get them to correct. But you know what? If we had verified the numbers, we would not be in this process right now. You would have had good numbers to work with, and let's quit wasting taxpayer money on this. That's it. Thank you.
Can you give me the cross street on Deer Creek?
Yes,
and
Summit View.
Summit
Summit
View?
View is my address. I'm on the corner.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Barrows.
Mhm.
We'll look into it. Miss Cibolo, parents Debbie Cura. Okay. Okay, so are they each individually listed? Or are they talking together? Okay, thank you. Hello and welcome. Hold on 1 second. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Elena Flores, and I have the honor of serving as Miss Cibolo. Standing here today, I'm not just representing a title, I'm representing a community that has shaped me into who I am. Being Miss Cibolo has meant far more to me than wearing a crown or a sash. It has given me a deeper sense of purpose. It has pushed me to step outside of my comfort zone, to lead with confidence, and to serve others with intention. Through this role, I've had the opportunity to connect with people of all ages, backgrounds, and stories, each one reminding me why community matters. As Miss Cibolo, I've been able to give back to the same community that has poured so much into me, whether that's through volunteering, attending local events, or simply being a positive role model for younger girls who now see themselves in me. Today, I'm asking for your support through a grant that will allow us to expand our efforts within this community. With this grant, we hope to reach the lives of many other young women just like myself. Thank you for your time, your support, and your dedication to this community.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brooke Merritt, and I am this year's Miss Cibolo ambassador. Last year I was Miss Cibolo, and I just wanted to come and talk to y'all and tell you how much the Miss Cibolo program has meant to me. It has just shown me what it means to be a community leader, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity that it's gave me, and I'm hoping that we can continue to give that to other young girls so that they can feel the same empowerment that I felt from the program, and the sisterhood that I felt, because we've been able to just make such strong connections with other girls our ages and girls younger than us that we've been able to mentor, and it's a really rewarding process. And so I just wanted to thank you for the support that you've given to us so far, and hope that you will continue to support us in the future.
Hello? Okay. Hi, my name's Alana Ambrosiak. I am 11 years old, and I'm your little Miss Cibolo currently. To me, what it means being little Miss Cibolo is that I get to do community service, like doing parades and doing the Walk for Diabetes and the Fun Run, and many more that I don't remember. My favorite part in the pageant was that when I was doing the onstage interview, is that when they asked me about what my favorite possession was, and I said a dog, but I didn't have one at the time until I got one.
It's okay, we're going to let it keep going, so, because it was a bunch of you.
What's your name?
Hi, Minnie.
Hi.
This is our mini Miss Cibolo. What's your name?
Kennedy.
Kennedy, what do you want to tell us? Is there anything you want to say about Miss Cibolo?
I like the pageant.
She likes the pageant?
Because I like to donate to the firehouse.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. The reason that we wanted to all come talk to you is just to tell you how much the program has meant to us, and we hope that through our stories you've been able to see that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Really great job, ladies. Christine Mancito? Cito?
And I would like to address the council as well.
Are you,
I'm
you're,
Debbie Cura.
oh, you are Debbie
Yes.
Cura. Okay.
And I just wanted to speak on behalf of the parents with the Miss Cibolo pageant. So good evening, council. My name is Debbie Cura, and I'm Brooke's mom, one of your current Miss Cibolo ambassadors. I want to first thank you for supporting the Miss Cibolo pageant with providing grants that provided scholarships to several of our high school young ladies. I hope you've seen our daughters on the court throughout this year and within the community, where we have looked for ways for the girls to represent their city and community well. When Brooke first became a part of the Miss Cibolo pageant system, we were told they were looking for the girl next door with pure, wholesome values for young ladies who were looking to be leaders and positive representatives. I believe these girls, ranging from the ages of 3 to 18, and these are just a couple of them, are the girls next door. We have athletes, dancers, honor roll students, and girls who are just wanting to mentor and be mentored with the positivity this pageant system offers this town and our youth. There are not a lot of young people today who want to give back and become part of their community, to be outwardly focused instead of inwardly focused. I believe the Miss Cibolo pageant offers these girls that opportunity, but it does not come without a cost. As a board member of the Miss Cibolo pageant, I have seen behind-the-scenes budgets that reflect how expensive things are, as I'm sure you are all aware since you run our city. We are hopeful that as our city council, you will see the importance of pouring back into our youth and these young ladies. This organization is part of Cibolo, and the recipients of your funding for any grants in the future, and are all girls who live in Cibolo. Thank you again for the opportunity that you have provided Brooke and these young ladies, and the scholarships that you've helped us to fund for these girls. Please remember this last year and the times you've seen these girls in the community at ribbon cuttings, in parades, at veterans memorial events, at tree lighting ceremonies, in parks and festivals, my hope is that you remember who they are and what they represent for the city of Cibolo, your future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. Christine Mancito. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Christine Mancito. I've been a member of, or a citizen of Cibolo since 2009. I am here today to raise serious concerns regarding my experience with Cibolo Animal Control and Cibolo Police Department, particularly involving potential conflict of interest and lack of accountability. On June 26, 25, I contacted Animal Control seeking rehoming for my Marine son's dog, Moxie, due to compatibility issues with my own pet. I was informed the shelter was full and unable to assist. At the time, I was not aware of the potential conflict of interest as the animal control employee involved was later identified as the sister of my estranged daughter-in-law. On September 30th, 25, 2 animal control officers entered my house without my consent. This interaction was captured on the Ring camera and witnessed by my family. I was told there was a complaint that I had too many animals. At that time, I had 3 dogs and 3 cats. Following the visit, I ensured that all the animals received the rabies vaccines and the microchips as ordered and to comply with the requirements of the city. Despite the concern raised, I was told, I had at that time when they entered my home, I had re-informed them of the email and the going back and forth trying to rehome Moxie and my surrender of my son's dog. I did tell them at this time, and they said no, that I could not surrender Moxie. I was given a list. I asked what I could do because I had tried everything at this point. I was given a list of resources to contact. Many of the numbers were disconnected. All of the other numbers were out of the city of Cibolo, and they would not deal with me. A lot of them were wildlife. None of them helped me in any way. I spent hours calling. Nothing worked. I made every effort I could. As a result, I was forced to make an extremely difficult decision, and I put her down. I had her put down. On 1/5/26, my son was living with me. He's estranged. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. He told me that his wife had introduced the kids to a police officer in Cibolo. I went outside. The police officer was outside of my home. He went around, parked at the bottom of my street. I'm gonna run out of time. And then he followed me for 2 hours, going 20 miles an hour, and he was menacingly antagonizing me on the. We went to the police department and I filed complaints against all of the people. That is my estranged daughter-in-law's boyfriend at this time now. He is harassing me. This is an abuse of power. And I am scared to live in Cibolo. I feel like I am unsafe and I have been targeted. And since all of this has happened, I have called the police department to find out if anything has happened, and nothing has happened thus far. The nice police officer said he turned it into his lieutenant, and every time I call, he said he has heard nothing back. Please give me justice for my family and for my Marine son's dog, Moxie. Thank you. I'm sorry for running over.
Ms. Mancino, will you please send an email to me with the information?
Yes, I have it all.
Thank you. Patricia May. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Honorable Mayor, City Manager, Police Chief, and distinguished elected officials of the City Council. I read a post from Landmark Point today about a small lost terrier mixed dog, and you know what the first thing I thought was? I hope the Cibolo Animal Control doesn't find it because they might kill it. That should not be my first thought. My first thought should have been what it used to be. If I can find this little dog and bring it home, I would. And I did just that a month ago. I found a little dog and brought it home. I don't know who's in charge of this organization. The police department, the city manager. I was told it wasn't the city council, but I thank you for letting me speak today. I really thank you. I understand a lot of this has been happening over a 3-year period, not just one dog or another. There's been Butter, there's been Flash, and a run-in with a citizen or two, as you just heard. I also understand that the animal control officer hasn't really been dealt with on this very much. And I understand that she's not real familiar with a catch and release type of program or compassion when it comes to an injured animal in her care. KSAT News made an investigative report on this, which was real interesting, scared me to death. Now I'm very concerned as a citizen of Cibolo, what if my fur baby gets lost? How is my baby going to be treated? And am I going to have to bury her after a stay in our animal shelter? I should not have to have those frightening thoughts. And I've lost total confidence in my city government when it comes to this. And someone needs to tell me or have a discussion, answer questions about how this is going to be rectified. I have always been a supporter of the Cibolo Animal Care Services. I've kept getting out the word to vote to all the communities for the new shelter to be built, and it was passed. When they needed food and beds, I got the word out to the neighbors and all the neighborhoods, and food and bedding started pouring in. I talked to the managers of HEB as to how to get food donated to the shelter here. I've worked hard for them. We even got the word out as how you can order food and items on Amazon to be sent directly to the shelter. But no more. I will not be an advocate of this shelter anymore. It does not protect our fur babies that cannot speak for themselves. They're hurt and they're scared and only trying to protect themselves the only way they know how. We have to find a better way to deal with this. I will always fight for justice for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mays. Bruce Ray, or Ray. Good evening.
Good evening,
welcome.
Council, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Respectfully, I would like to yield my minutes to Jordan Campos.
Ms. Valerie, can you put 6 minutes on the timer? Jordan Campos, welcome and good evening.
Hello, Mayor and Council members. Thank you for the time today. My name is Jordan Campos. I'm here because my dog Butter died from catastrophic injuries she sustained while in the custody of Cibolo Animal Services. And for more than a year, the city has insisted that nothing wrong occurred. On December 19th, 2024, Butter was at home inside our fenced yard wearing a perimeter shock collar that physically prevented her from leaving the property. She was healthy, safe, and doing what any dog would do when a stranger missed the posted delivery instructions and entered our porch. My husband and I were not home at the time, and during that encounter, the delivery driver spooked Butter and was bitten. Even in this situation, proper protocol exists to wait for the backup, to contain, and to de-escalate. Those steps were not followed. When Officer Mora arrived, she said multiple times that she could not handle the situation. She requested backup because she knew she wasn't equipped to safely manage. But she did not wait for that backup. She entered our private property alone, despite acknowledging she couldn't control the situation. That decision, her decision, set everything that followed into motion. What makes this even harder to accept is how many opportunities there were to de-escalate and avoid harm. Butter was trapped in our screened-in porch at one point. The door could have simply been closed to contain her safely until backup had arrived, or until we were contacted. She was trapped with her attacker. She was not a danger to anyone who did not physically enter our property. Yet Officer Moore reported her as running at large, a claim that was either knowingly false or the result of negligence. That false framing justified actions that were never necessary. The next time we saw Butter, she had a broken jaw, internal bleeding, and was completely blind. These are not the injuries of a dog who was humanely captured. These are the injuries of a dog who was beaten. Excuse me. I've shared photos and videos with you all. Photos of Butter before December 19th, healthy, happy, and safe in her home. And photos and videos of Butter less than 24 hours later, after her encounter with Cibolo Animal Services. You can see the truth for yourselves. This isn't just our account. The police officer who arrived as backup told us directly that the situation had already gotten out of control before he even reached our home. He saw blood on Butter's legs, neck, and eyes. He confirmed she was still in her yard when she was attacked, and he agreed that the entire situation could have been avoided. Yet the city's internal investigation concluded that no wrongdoing occurred. The official report describes the entire incident in 2 sentences. 2 sentences that do not and cannot explain a shattered jaw, blindness, internal bleeding, and the need for euthanasia. 2 sentences that do not explain why she was taken from our yard still wearing her shock collar, left to be shocked until we could turn it off. 2 sentences that do not explain why no one at the shelter sought medical care or even called us, despite our phone number being printed in large letters on her collar. We were told she would be held for 10 days in that condition. The only reason she wasn't is because we showed up in person an hour before the facility opened, begged to see her, and insisted she be released for emergency care. Within hours, the veterinarian told us that she was suffering too much to save and encouraged us to document evidence because this was not a normal or humane case. My Butter was a rescue dog with a hard life before she came to us. We had made our home a safe and loving space for her, and Cibolo Animal Services destroyed both Butter and her safe space. Butter spent the last day of her life in fear and pain and confusion because of the actions of someone employed by this city. I'm asking for 3 things: an independent third-party investigation, not another internal review by the same system that already cleared itself, the release of all records from that day, and most importantly, policy changes and retraining for all personnel involved to ensure no other family in Cibolo ever experiences what we did. Butter can't speak for herself, so I'm speaking for her. You now know what happened to her. If the city chooses to do nothing, that is no longer a matter of missing facts. It is a decision, and the community deserves to know why. Thank you.
Ms. Mays, I would like you to know that we hear your concern that you're raising, and that we share in the expectation that this will be looked at carefully and responsibly. As mayor, I represent both the person who was bitten and Butters and your family that was shattered by this situation, and I understand the weight of that. Because this involves a personnel matter, there are limits to what we can discuss publicly under our charter. That does not mean that this situation is being ignored. It means that it must be reviewed through proper channels. Thank you. Deanna Mendez.
Good evening. I would like to give my time to Ruben Mendez.
Miss Val, can you combine the time? Thank you. Ruben Menendez.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Council, Mayor Latimer. Thank you for allowing us to address you this evening. Jordan's my daughter, and I think she stole my speech. Throughout this, our position has been that this is entirely avoidable. There was a series of bad decisions and multiple opportunities to de-escalate the situation. Now, she mentioned most of them, and I'm going to piggyback on those. When Officer Mora arrived on scene and attempted the first time to capture Butter, the front yard looked like a yard sale. There was stuff everywhere, to include a shovel that was not in the yard. We can only imagine what it was used for. But she realized that she couldn't control the situation. She realized that she was not equipped to handle this and called for help. The responding officers said they were 10 to 15 minutes away and they would be there. She did not wait. She continued to pursue Butter. First opportunity missed. Secondly, like Jordan mentioned, she was trying very badly to escape and get away from Officer Mora and ran into a screen porch. A simple closing of the door would have secured Butter inside that porch. She was not a danger to anyone. They could have tried to contact the owners. They would have walked her in on a leash the next day or that afternoon and completely avoided that. But that didn't happen. She chased Butter in there. She beat Butter in there. How do we know that? We have pictures. We have pictures, muddy dog prints running on furniture, on the floor, on the walls. There's blood on the wall, blood on the floor. We have the pictures. We will gladly provide them to anybody. They then got the catch pole on her, the choke pole with Officer Mora, and drug her from the backyard to the front where they had her waiting there by a vehicle. They could not lift her in the truck, so they continued to choke her and subdue her while she was there. Shock collar on the entire time. The entire time it's on. If it wasn't already shocking her, the minute they lifted her into that cage, it was shocking her. Nobody helped her. Nothing. Then that humane officer takes her to the kennel and leaves her in that condition with no medical attention for 10 hours. The only reason they released Butter to Jordan and Colton, the only reason was because they knew she was in bad shape. She was dying right in front of their eyes. We were told that that was against protocol, but they were going to let her go. How nice of them. The vet who treated found she had broken jaw. Her tongue was already turning black because she could not keep it in her mouth and from the trauma. It's called necrosis or something like that. It was dying. Her eyes, and please forgive me for being descriptive. Her eyes, the blood vessels were ruptured out. They looked like two pink balloons coming out of her face. I sent you the video and the pictures. She was blind, in pain. There was nothing they could do for her. When the officer was notified by the family that they had to put her down, her first thought was, okay, can you bring us a body? We need the head so we can give it a rabies test. How humane is that? I got the city, the Animal Control Services mission statement in here, and it says humane in it twice. Who here thinks that was humane? Does anybody think that was humane? No, not at all. There was total disregard. These are the people who are in charge of this. These are the people that we're putting in responsible. Would you be okay if they responded that way to your pet? God forbid you go to H-E-B and leave the front door open and they get out. Officer Morris shows up. Let the games begin. We were stalled for 3 months. Everybody agreed with us that this could have been done better. For 3 months, and we get a 2-sentence reply. That's what we got. Brushed under the carpet. I have sat in your seats before. I was a school board member for many years. I know you don't control personnel. I understand. I didn't control teachers. I didn't control principals. But I could squeeze that superintendent when I needed to. You can do that. I'm asking in executive session, make a motion, do something. Ask this man over here, the city manager. Ask him to do something. That's not acceptable. The citizens in Cibolo deserve better than that. But we keep going it year after year. And it's going to happen again. because this is not the only time she has done this. She's done this before, and her supervisors are reaffirming that behavior by telling her it's okay. Or if you cross the line, we're just going to sweep it under the carpet for you. Nothing's going to happen. Keep doing what you're doing. It's okay. I don't think we approve of that. Nobody here does. Nobody. Please, don't wash your hands of this. Take some kind of action. Do something. Instruct him. You can do that. Please do something. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Maggie Titterlington. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tonight, immediately following the hearing of residents, there's going to be a very short bond presentation. The superintendent of our school district, Paige Maloney, is here. And I just wanted to speak a few words in the fact that I was one of the 75 members on that community advisory committee that we spent 3 months. We toured the campuses, we went to Steele, we went to Clemens, we looked at the stadium, and these 3 bonds that are coming up that are for $295 million should actually be, in all honesty, 500, but we had to narrow it down because we know residents and we know right now how things are in the economy and everything, but we also know how it is for our students. So not only did we tour these campuses and see how I went to Clemens in 1984, and so walking through some of the stadiums and seeing it was exactly the way that it was when I graduated from high school is a bit alarming. I know that is on a separate bond issue. All 3 issues that we have to address, the infrastructure, the stadium, and the IT are set in A, B, and C bonds. But when Paige comes up and talks about it, and as I said, it's a very brief, very informative presentation. It'll walk you through the basics of it, but not the feeling of it that we all went through when we toured and we saw, and students came and talked to us about how much they want, you know, the band halls better, the instruments, the CTE programs that are training our students for their future careers. So I just please urge all of you all, please stay just a few more minutes, 5-10 minutes after hearing of residents and hear her presentation. There are 2 town hall meetings. On the 21st, it will be at Steele. That is at 5:30. And next week, the 22nd will be at Clemens, so that if you actually want to see what we saw, you will see where the needs are. They're very, very real needs. And early voting for these bonds starts on April 20th through the 28th. Again, it's so important for y'all to get out and vote and support our students. I mean, this is our future Cibolo residents, Schertz residents, Universal City, Selma, all the surrounding areas. Please support our students. Thank you.
Yes. Ms. Paige Maloney. Welcome and good evening. And I look forward to your presentation immediately following the citizens to be heard.
Oh, okay, thank you. Do I go to it now, or are there other citizens?
Oh, my apologies. You are actually on my agenda in the strategic partner presentation, which immediately follows the citizens to be heard.
Okay, could
So
I do
we'll
it
come
then?
back.
Okay.
Thank you. Amber Carlton. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and council members. My name is Amber Carlton. I am a member of the core leadership team, and this is my peer, Brian Orr. We are very thankful to be here this evening to hear processes. The experience we have had with CORE has been invaluable. I'm thankful to Maggie Tennerton for allowing us to participate in the program and just being able to see the experiences and being able to just see what you do day in and day out, and just a little snippet of it, because we really don't have a full idea, but just thankful for the opportunity. I've been a Texas resident since 2020. I moved here from Baltimore, Maryland. So just getting more invested in Texas and the different counties has just been, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. So wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know that the Chamber and economic development here in Central Texas is so critical to growing our communities in ways that are meaningful to our residents and support our tax base, as well as give us like great Andy's frozen custard or Creppuccino's delicious Italian creppuccinos. So I appreciate you coming in through the Chamber and doing this work, because our community and its economic growth matters. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Monica Mata, or Mata, Monica. Okay. Maven McKenzie. Sherry McDaniels. Good evening, Ms. McDaniels, and welcome.
Ms. Valerie is handing out the flyer. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Park and Recreation Commission would like to remind everyone that this Saturday is our Disc Golf at Slaughter Park event. It's a free event for beginner players of all ages to learn to play disc golf. The event will be from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. All participants will get a disc to learn and play with. There will be a DJ and food trucks. I have flyers, extra flyers, if anybody's interested. We hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Thank you. Enrique Fijardo. Good evening and welcome.
Our opinion, if we might, about the school bond request from Maggie. Part of our education or our program was to walk those schools. We talked to the principals, we talked to the teachers, we talked to the coaches. We saw the facilities, we saw the students doing what they were supposed to be doing. And just looking at the difference between one school and the other is breaking hard. These kids all deserve the same opportunity to be a better citizens and to be a better person.
So my name is Christopher Lovelace. As Enrique said, I'm part of the leadership core program under the Chamber with Maggie. We did get to tour a couple of the schools and were taught about the bond and educated. It was heartbreaking to see that the school hasn't changed, and a lot of the things have just deteriorated, and it's really in need of an upgrade, just the simplest of things, you know. So just wanted to express that, and I do appreciate you guys allowing us to come and talk.
Well, thank you for coming
Thank you.
this evening. Economic development and education are important to our futures. All right, and now we will be able to call Ms. Paige Maloney up to the front to do the strategic partner presentation. The presentation from Shirt Cibolo Universal City Independent School District about the 2026 bond for SCUCISD. Ms. Maloney, the SCUCISD Superintendent.
Okay, I have it here. I have it pulled up here. Does it go? Yeah, there we go. Well, thank you so much, Mayor Latimer, council members. I'm so honored to come before you today to be able to talk to you, give the factual presentation since we've called the bond for bond 2026 for the Cibolo Universal City Independent School District. I have to thank Ms. Katie Cunningham, who served on that committee as well, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But I also want to thank the members, Ms. Patterson, Ms. Brown, and then, of course, you, Mayor Latimer, for attending, and I think Ms. Sanchez-Stevens also came on the tours for the elected officials last week, and we really appreciate y'all coming out and spending the time with us. You know, real quickly, you guys are very familiar with what is a bond election. That the voters allow the district through the vote to borrow money for school construction, renovation, safety, and technology. Those funds are repaid over time by levying that INS tax rate that's similar to a home mortgage. I often say if you move into a brand new neighborhood, you take out a loan for your house and the builder gets the money to build your house, and then you pay the loan back. In our case, we're the builder and the borrower for the bond because we levy that tax rate every year. Why do we have to do it? The state doesn't really provide funds for those large facility projects that are that cannot be typically paid for in the general fund. And I've gone too far there. Let me go back just a little bit. So as Maggie was saying, we had really our Board of Trustees for the past 2 years has been looking at our infrastructure needs. The average age of our building are 26 years. And so the major system components have to be replaced over time. So the board had been looking at that for 2 years, and then this 75-person committee of stakeholders started to meet last September, and we got to 3 propositions, Prop A, Prop B, and Prop C. And if you've lived in Cibolo for a long time, the last time we did a bond was 2016, and it was only 1 prop. The law has changed. Now they categorize certain things for the propositions. For the general facilities prop, that's the bulk of it. It's like I said, it's upgrading and replacements and enhancing security systems and replacements of all the major system components. We will be replacing, if successful, playgrounds at all elementary campuses. That Watts playground is 30 years old and has some duct tape holding it together, but we still go out there and take care of the things that we have. Prop B is our stadium proposition at Linhoff Stadium that will expand the capacity. If you've ever driven by there on a Friday night, you know that we have had to rent bleachers for large crowds for the past 12 years. And so also some safety concerns would move that concession stand area. Also, if you've been there on Friday night, you're going to miss probably a whole half if you stand in that line for the concession stand. Lighting, sound systems, most of those things the lighting has been around since the 1960s. We'll also include the turf replace the turf at Steele High School and add at Corbett Junior High. You're like, where's Dobie? Well, I told you that stadium, the reason you have to have a stadium, separate proposition, is capacity over 1,000. Dobie is at 600. So it's in Prop A. Prop C are technology devices. There is technology in Prop A, but that's behind the walls, the Wi-Fi. This is just for the devices. This would not be financed for over 5 to 6 years, only the life of the asset, of course. As we know, we have the maintenance and operations tax rate that funds the day-to-day. What we're talking about today is the blue tax rate that we levy to pay off our debt. You put them together, that's our school tax rate. And since 2021, our tax rate has decreased by 33 cents. Both with the legislature having compression, but then also our school district board of trustees managing to decrease that as well. So 33 cents since 2021. The ballot language says this is a tax increase. We don't anticipate a tax rate increase in 26-27, but we're cognizant of the fact that if you issue more debt, you have to levy a tax rate to pay that. Thank you to the state of Texas. We've had multiple homestead exemptions, 140K this past session, and then 200K for over 65. I've lived in Schertz for almost 30 years. My school taxes were lower than they had been since 2008, this last session, thanks to that homestead exemption. If you're over 65 and it is your major homestead and you haven't had any improvements to the home, there you will not be affected by this. And again, I encourage you to go to our website. The number one thing is we have every single school, the projects that are listed, and every single proposition, the projects that are listed. And I think we've even put some estimates on costs. You know, it's hard to do if you haven't done design yet, but for planning, I just appreciate you guys and your service so very much. And thank our Board of Trustees for being here tonight too.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Maloney?
I don't have any questions, but I did want to mention, Mr. Reed and I were both on the committee for the bond. We did tour every single school, looked at all the facilities. What is, as Maggie said earlier, what is on the bond is much, much, much less than what actually is needed. I graduated from Clemens, went to many of the schools in the districts. My kids are at schools in the district. I've seen the schools as they are. I've been in them recently, not just with the tour, but with my kiddos. Our houses, we have to replace appliances. We have to replace our roof. We have to paint the outside. We have to paint the inside. We have to replace the carpet. The same thing goes for schools. If you have maybe 5, 6 people in your house and you've got thousands of kids going through those hallways every single day, the wear and tear shows. The school district, and I've said this for years, has a fantastic process of managing their facilities and their equipment, the use and what is going to need to be replaced, when it's going to need to be replaced. If anyone's interested, the website, the school district's website has the minutes, or not the minutes, it has the presentations and the documents from all of the meetings that they have for all their subcommittees. If you look at the subcommittee for this and the subcommittee for the Community Advisory Committee, those meeting agendas, when they talk about the demographics, when they talk about the condition of the facilities, the condition of the technology, the rates of kids who are in fine arts and sports is insane. All of that data is there, and it's very clear and easy to understand, and it really honestly speaks for itself. It's really easy to say, well, I don't want my taxes raised. You have to. We have to maintain these buildings because the longer we wait, the more they degrade and the more it's going to cost down the road, and our kids deserve it.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, Ms. Maloney, for coming here. I was on the elected officials tour. I highly recommend all parents and really all citizens of Cibolo get educated on this, attend their information sessions, look online, attend those tours so that you can see for yourself the state of the facilities. I have children in the school district as well. This is where they're being educated. This is where our future is being educated. And there are things definitely in need of an upgrade, and we need to prepare them to go out into the real world where they're going to school next, they're joining the military, or they're going straight to work. And this is where they're getting prepared for that. So our kids definitely deserve that. So again, I highly encourage you, look up the information for yourselves, attend these sessions, and if you can, attend one of the tours so that you can see the facilities where our children are being educated. Thanks.
The quality of our community is a direct reflection of the quality of education that our children receive. It's an integral part of our development and our future. So I hope that all of the people that have heard your presentation will do their homework and support public education here in Cibolo. Thank you.
And I would offer to any of I would give a personal tour to any of our elected officials, offered the same thing to shirts. Just give me a call. Thank you.
And the next tour is on April 21st.
Yes, April 21st at Steele and April 22nd at Clemens. So it would be an information session, a little bit lengthier presentation than I gave tonight at 5:30, and then we'll walk those campuses.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Moving on to the consent agenda items. All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered as part of the order of business. 8A is the approval of the minutes from March 7th, 2026. 8B, approval of the minutes from March 24th, 2026 joint workshop. 8C, approval of the minutes from the March 28th, 2026 strategic management workshop. 8D, approval of the minutes from the March 24th, 2026 regular council meeting.
Does anybody want to separate, or do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve 8A through D.
I second.
Sorry.
Okay. That passed. Moving on to 9, Mayor's follow-up. In 9A is the Union Pacific sidewalk across the railroad tracks at Main Street. I have vowed to keep this on our agenda until we so achieve that sidewalk, and I know that Mr. Reed will address that in his staff updates. So moving on, unless anybody has any news about it that they know of here. Moving on to 10, staff updates. The city manager's administrative update.
Thank you, Mayor. First on my list is the property cleanup located at 130 Hakerville Road on April 18th. This is the same day that there is a tour in the afternoon, but this is in the early part of the day, so that there is some overlap, but there's still possibility to attend both. And then scheduling tours. The CCMA tour was on Monday, April 13th. I want to thank the mayor and the council members who were able to attend that, and I appreciate Brian Huggins stepping in to attend that on behalf of myself and the city manager's office. The Guadalupe Brazos River Authority tour is on May 6th. It'll be in the afternoon. It'll include Dunlap Dam and the San Marcos Water Treatment Plant. The CRWA tour is still pending a date certain. As soon as we have that, we'll be coordinating with the council. Let me cover the different competitive processes, and then I'll go over all the capital improvement programs. Staff is aiming to bring to you the agreement for the city's wayfinding sign program on April 28th. There is another RFQ out for, a bid out for the FM 1103 Phase 2 utility relocates, but I'll be covering that under CIP. And then under staff travel, no new updates on out-of-state travel. So quickly, on the Main Street sidewalk, staff is working with the consultants on revisions and will schedule follow-up with UPRR. In-house staff will be installing missing signage and pavement markings. Staff, TxDOT, UPRR, and Kimberly Horn, the consultant for the city, will be meeting to discuss the traffic signal timing at FM 78 and Main Street, FM 78 and FM 1103. Under the Veterans Nimitz Park renovations, you have a presentation tonight, so nothing more to be said now. And based upon your direction, next steps include finalizing design, procurement, and construction. Community Center renovations, Phase 2. Staff has been provided 100% layout from our architects. Consultant is finishing HVAC and electrical schematics. Design completion, April this month. Procurement to be completed by late June. And that would result in a contract in front of council. Beginning construction in July, 120 days for completion. So Phase 2 tentative completion date is mid-November.
Thank you.
And the rest of the CIP updates, I can just forward to you in the email if you'd like. And Mayor, that's all.
Any questions? Okay. Moving on to all right. I'm going, Chief Andres, do you have anything you would like to present?
Sorry.
Do you have anything at this time that you would like to present?
Not at all. If council has any question about the reports you received, I'd love to answer them.
Any questions? Thank you. 11A, discussion action on approval of the Nimitz Park and Veterans Memorial Park master plans and authorization for the city manager to proceed with construction plan development. Ms. Hernandez
from Kimley. Oh, well, hi.
I am here.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Margarita Hernandez, Assistant Public Works Director, and over the Parks Division. Here I have our consultant, Kimley Horn, here providing us support in case there are any technical questions that you may need more information. So I would like to start my presentation. Where is the PowerPoint?
There it is.
There we go. Okay. Let me take the glasses off. So I'm here today to request, to provide an update to the council and also request approval of the master plan and for the Veterans Memorial Park and Nimitz Park. And also, staff is recommending to proceed with the phase 1 of the design construction plans for Veterans Memorial Park and Nimitz Park. And this is not to exceed available funding of $2,130,000. And my question to you is, does the council approve the master plan for both parks? And does the council approve us moving forward with the design phase? So I think I need to be moving this PowerPoint for you. Sorry. There we go. So I would like to provide you a quick update on the funding sources that we have for this improvement. So in fiscal year 24, this is the available funds. The initial funds were $750,000. In fiscal year 25, the assigned funds were $750,000, and right now we have available funds of $700,000. Fiscal year 26, we have all $750,000. The difference that you see on those have been spent on the conceptual master plan, and that leaves us with Veterans Memorial for $680,000, and the Nimitz is $1.5 million. So I would like to provide you a quick overview of where we started. Back in August of 2025, we came to the council and they approved the contract with our consultant, Kimley Horn, to move forward with the master plan. In August of 2025, the first task was executed where the consultant went out to the site, did a lot of assessment, took an inventory, and did an analysis of what was existing in both parks. And then we moved to task number 2, which it was the public outreach. The public outreach was significantly done. We utilized the Cibolo Summer Nights where we captured a lot of local residents and we took their feedback. Ms. Sherry here, McDonald, she provided support at the Parks Commission and gathering that feedback from the community. We did several outreach there, culminating to a town hall, and we provided that presentation to the community. From there, the consultant took the information and they developed what they call the final conceptual plan. So now we're going to talk about Veterans Memorial. I would like to provide you just a quick overview of the various feedbacks that we heard from the community. This is a summary of that information, and this is what the consultants took to take it and provide the conceptual master plan. So here is the conceptual master plan that was developed. One of the highlights was Veterans Memorial, as you can see currently, is constrained with a limited amount of parking. And with this layout, we were able to obtain 23 additional parking spaces, 3 of them being ADA accessible. We heard very clear from the community that that is what they would like to see in this parks. This is another high-level overview of what is being proposed there. As you can see, improving the sidewalks and trails, the memorial, the Veterans Memorial that currently exists there, and strategically placed there so it could give us room for growth and development. We also have the playground and some concepts of adding areas for pavilions where you can go and sit, and also including or adding a pickleball court for that. So this is the numbers. This is what will cost the city if we were to do all of the improvements that we see here. Clearly, we don't, currently the funding is not 3.5 million, so 3.05 million. So, but this is just, I would like for you to see, this is the best available information, and this is where the costs are coming. We will not get specific costs until we move forward with the sign and we start getting closer to that. That's when we will get specific costs for each and every one of those items listed here.
But the drawing is that amount.
That is correct.
Okay.
The conceptual drawing, the master plan for Veterans Memorial is that amount.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I'm recommending that we phase out the improvements. Phase one consisting of what we heard the most from the community, what is needed to be upgraded to make it ADA accessible, and that would be the parking lot, the bathrooms, and if there is opportunity to redo the multi-use fields, right? Currently, the state of those fields can use an upgrade for that. As a phase two, we recommend doing a lot of the landscaping around there and improving the Veterans Memorial, moving it to that location where there will be room for growth. And the Parks Commission is leading the efforts in developing the programming of those the Veterans Memorial program, administrative program of that. And of course, then the phase three would consist of improving the basketball courts. They're there, adding a new pavilion with new shade structure, and adding the pickleball courts. That would be a phase three. This would be the...
Can you go back?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. So the shade structure is over the playground is in phase three?
The shade structure is right here over the pavilion area, small pavilion area. That's where it would be. The playground structure here will be completely redone. You will have new playground equipment. The ground, the turf will be redone, which is more of a safety component, and is what is currently being utilized in other playground spaces.
But there's not a shade structure over the playground.
Currently, we don't have one. As we move to that phase, we certainly can look at that, and depending on the available funds, we can introduce it there at that phase three.
And so the playground equipment will be replaced at phase three?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So this is the probable construction cost for the phase three. And what we would like to do is design these elements in phase one, come up with a specific cost as we move forward, and then do a base bid that would include, I can move forward with that, do a base bid that would be the bathroom, that would be the parking lot, the concrete sidewalks and trails. And all of this addresses ADA accessibility, safety, and usability of the park. As I had mentioned before, the parking spaces are very challenging right now. We heard that from the community, that anytime they're trying to have an event out there, parking is a challenge. So addressing that up front in a first facing will allow us to start programming more events out there. The add alternate will include the turf, the landscaping, some irrigation, but how to bid it this way, it helps us because if we get higher prices, then we don't have to move with the add alternate bid. We just move forward with the base bid and get the contractor to execute that. And all of this, again, will be based on available funding. So now we move forward to Nimitz Park.
Hang on one second. Can we move back into Veterans Park? Let's stay here for just a minute.
Yes,
Does
ma'am.
anybody have questions about Veterans Park? Councilwoman Roberts.
I would guess my first question is, in 2025, I realize you were not here yet. We did have a strategic workshop that all the council was a part of, and we were asked what is something that we all wanted. And we all wanted quality of life for our residents. And parks, of course, brings us that quality of life. Each and every one of us was very specific that we wanted Veterans Park done as a priority because it is truly one of the worst parks in this town. And it was said to us, well, if it was me, I would do it another way. So it's kind of like we're looking at this. You're saying it's going to be done in phases. You cannot tell us how long these phases are going to take. And so the park that we asked as a priority, you're basically telling us you're going to put a little bit of lipstick here at a parking lot and a walking trail and call her good for maybe the next 10 years. I appreciate everything y'all have done, and I appreciate everything the Parks Commission has done to help y'all. But again, if something was important enough to council for all of us to say, this is what we would like done, then I don't know, I kind of think we need to look at that a little bit better.
Certainly, and that is the direction the council can provide to me, because currently, that is what I have in available funding.
So the purpose and intent of what is this dollar amount for Veterans Park in Phase 1?
Yes. It is so we can move forward with the design and get real costs at that design phase, and then we start developing construction plans for bid.
And what is the amount?
The amount for that currently is $1.4 million.
Okay, so almost 1.5. And the 1.5 would be getting ADA compliant parking, ADA compliant bathrooms.
Yes, ma'am.
And
concrete
getting
trails
the
and
ADA
sidewalks.
compliant sidewalks.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor and council, if I could add, I understand Mrs. Roberts' statement, and really it's ultimately a council decision to allocate the funds in our annual CIP to advance the full project. And if council wants Veterans Park completely done, later tonight, Mr. Gomez will be talking about our 5-year CIP. And in the budget process coming up, you can prioritize that in the future years in our 5-year CIP where we have additional funds not yet allocated.
So we have $1.5 million allocated right now to make those repairs. And then you're saying that we would come back to the CIP to then schedule out how the rest of the phases would be done?
So let me show you again this
$1.5 million on veterans.
funding source. I have $680,000 for Veterans Memorial, 1.45 for Nimitz. And this, please also understand that this will have to fund the design for construction plans.
Okay.
So this is all in.
And just Mayor and Council, this is from your allocation through the 5-year CIP. We were not putting money aside to improve parks. Council made that commitment with FY24, and as you can see, moving forward. But now that we're getting opinions of probable cost for construction, you can see the cost to improve these parks. And so staff wants to continue to work with you to line what you put in the CIP to get these jobs done. But tonight, what we're presenting is what we have money to do.
That is correct, Mr. Reed. Thank you.
Okay, so you're saying, Danetta, I think Councilwoman Roberts, what they're saying is that they are going to, if we approve this tonight, the money would be spent on phase 1. We would have enough money to complete phase 1 and the overall design for the rest of the park.
So we have a conceptual master plan. What we're asking direction from you is to allow us to do only phase one design.
Okay.
The other elements that are remaining in the other phases will be done when we move forward to that phase. As Councilwoman Roberts mentioned, we don't know when that funding will come. It can come tomorrow if I win the lottery, or it can be lingering on for a few years as you as you prioritize these improvements. Absolutely.
Councilwoman Cunningham.
So is there a significant price difference in doing a phase one design versus the whole park design?
Yes, ma'am.
How much are we talking?
I'm going to let Kimberly Horn answer that question.
So you're talking specifically for veterans?
Right.
now?
So if we do a phase one design for veterans versus designing the whole park, what is the anticipated cost difference, just for the design?
Just for the design? That would be a number we would have to kind of work with, exactly what we're doing with the architecture. We don't have a number exactly for that because we've been preparing for just phase one. But whether you do it broken up into phase one or phase two, phase three, it's going to be a similar cost, whether the design is up front or in the phases.
Okay, because here's my thought process. When we first put this money in the CIP, it was when we did our first strategic plan, and we realized that we didn't have much money put aside for street maintenance. We didn't have much money put aside for parks. There was a lot of stuff that we were really falling behind. So it took a couple of years to kind of shift the budget around to get those funds a little bit higher than what they were. Our street maintenance, we should be around 5 million. We're at like 1 million. Still got a ways to go. With parks, we got it up to, I think, 800,000 a year. But when it comes to parks, that money seems like a lot because it is a lot of money, but it does not go very far. Our parks are in not great condition. Just like the school district, parks demand maintenance. In 2019, I had taken my kids to Veterans Park. It was falling apart. And so my husband and I went out there. We got people together. We went and we fixed the equipment and put bolt caps on everything and painted some benches. It wasn't great work. It was free. You get what you pay for when it comes to my labor. But we fixed what we could. It's going to take a lot more than the money that we have. The reason I asked about phase one design versus the whole design is, would it be more prudent for us, knowing that even if we put $800,000 to $1 million a year in the CIP for parks, we're still years away from getting these 2 parks done? Would it be more prudent to shift, and I know nobody likes bonds, nobody likes tax rates, but in order to get these things fixed, would it be better to come up with the plan for the whole park, for these 2 parks, see how much that costs, and then see if that's something that we're willing to take to a bond? Maybe a shorter term bond, but potentially a bond to get it done. Because at this rate, even if we focus on one park, it's still going to be 5-6 years out for one park. Veterans Park has needed to be updated for 10-15 years. It is in really bad condition. It's embarrassing. It's supposed to be a memorial park for our veterans, and there are plaques missing. It's just not great condition. It's one that a lot of people visit when they're voting in Cibolo, and they're having to. It's not the best reflection. Nimitz Park is one of the oldest parks. I remember it was old when I was there. They still had the butt burner slide. That was the metal slide up until. It might still be there, actually.
Right, but one of the things that I want to provide clarity, we have the opportunity in front of us today to approve this plan that would then allow us to at least begin to make 2 parks with some semblance of ADA compliance.
Right.
It may not be the best solution, and we can always pivot into, like Councilwoman Roberts said, a more clear path of how we're going to fund each of the phases. But really what's in front of us right now is the dollar amount we have, the plan that was set out and agreed upon, and the ability to at least have parking, sidewalks, and bathrooms that get people, all kinds of people, able to utilize that park. So while we can continue to have this discussion, and we should, I think what's before us today, what Margarita is trying to demonstrate is that we have put this money away, and these are the improvements we can make right now, today, for our residents. Is it enough? Of course not. But is it something that we can actually accomplish within the funds that were set aside and create? So if we want to choose to do that for Veterans Park, we would have phase one completing the parking, the bathroom, and the walkway. And we could then begin to move into the next phases, however that looks, whether that's a bond or what have you. But at least we're moving forward on the strategic plan, which was to begin to make and park improvements, which is, you know, maybe it's a baby step, but it is a step in the right direction, if that makes sense to you. I think it would.
In regards to kind of going off what Katie said, as far as maybe throwing it out to bond somehow, I know you're working very hard on this parks master plan, and I know once you're able to get that done, that's going to help you to get those grants that we may need to also bring the playground equipment in and the other items that we are needing that doesn't cost the city to have to put in this kind of funds again. So I do want to acknowledge that I know you are working hard to get to that stage as well.
And part of being eligible for those grants is the city of Cibolo demonstrating that they are willing and planning for these improvements and actually investing in their community parks, not just looking for a handout. And so I think this is a critical step in the grant process, even to demonstrate to strategic partners and folks that we are investing in our parks.
That is 100% correct. Having a master plan really would set you apart from so many communities that are looking for funding, but they don't have the funding to do master plans.
Right, and we, not only do we have the master plan, but we will have the investment for the compliance component of it, which is a minimum, and we know that, but it's better, right? And I think the discussion needs to keep going. So now that we are, can we move, is it okay if everybody ready to move on to the next part, or did you have a question?
I have just a really quick comment on this. So totally tracking with all of that, I would just ask any way possible to get redoing the Veterans Memorial. Like, this is Veterans Memorial Park. We're putting money into it, but we're not redoing that portion. I think that's a key component of our community. So I would just look into that if possible, instead of it being like in phase two. I don't know if there's any way to make that into the cut for phase
Once
one.
the master plan is done, we could maybe go out and look for strategic partnerships that might be able to fund components of that.
Absolutely, and that's what that master plan is going to set you up. It's not just the city putting the funding, also will be set up for grants, but also those partnerships with other agencies and entities, because then we have a roadmap to
It's
get
small
us there.
steps in the right direction. And so moving on to the Nimitz Park program.
So again, I would like to provide just a general overview. It was in your packet for the various outreach that was done and what we heard from our community. This is the proposed improvements. Again, parking spaces was the key, and people voiced that out. And what we have done here, and I would like to point out a little bit, a change that I had from your existing PowerPoint presentation to this, that initially we had set 5 ADA spaces, is actually 6 ADA spaces out there that we were able to get with the reconfiguration and the vehicular movement of this parking stall. And this will include also working on, well, let me go back. I'm getting ahead myself. I would like to highlight some of the amenities that we're recommending here is having an outdoor fitness area, in redoing the playground equipment that is up front, and adding sidewalks, trails around the park to make it more accessible from wherever you are. And then, of course, the pavilion that is there currently, the large pavilion. Currently, the basketball court is a very slippery surface, and is redoing that surface to ensure that it's safe for the users there. And it has a concession stand towards the back. I was under the impression that, as I heard from other people, that maybe the reason the concession stand wasn't working was because last year when we had that significant flood event, it damaged it. But what I was told now is that it actually had some damages from that huge winter storm that we had in 21, and that caused the concession stand not to be operable. So again, making usable spaces that we already have. And as you can see on both proposed plans, if we are only taking out, if it must be taken out, we're using and having the same spaces, just remodeling to make the dollars go a little bit further out. So with that, again, this is to do the full improvements that you see here, shade structures, redoing the football field, adding the sidewalks and ADA accessibility. All of that comes out to $5.3 million. This for the entire renovation of that park. Again, the approach was to do it in phases, working with a consultant. And on this one, we propose to do the playground improvements. As Councilwoman Cunningham mentioned, the playground really needs some improvements. And again, it goes back to safety, right? Having our children play there. And that is why we're proposing it to be the first phase, redoing that playground equipment. And also having the space set up for expansion of that playground equipment. Once we found that, golden egg that we can get some money to do that, we will do that. And then redoing the parking spaces towards the back, resurfacing all that, and the pavilion, again, up to available funding. That is what we're proposing.
What are the trails going to be in phase one?
The trails, if you see all of this in the phase one, is redoing or removing crushed granite that is existing there and making them concrete so they could be ADA accessible. And it's all, you can see it all through here, leading to the playground, leading to the bathrooms, all of that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So the phase one, currently what we have that probable construction cost is to be $2.6 million. But again, the approach will be that we'll do a base bid that will we'll use the available funding that we have and add alternates. And this is a good approach because we'll get bids from contractors. And like I explained at the Parks Commission, sometimes you're able to get the full package because the contractor is already there. He's already probably working in the near vicinity. He's already bringing concrete to those subdivisions that he's building. And if he gets this contract, he can get a better cost for that concrete versus somebody that is just working in the park and is only doing that. So that is why I recommend that we also have that add alternate in the event that we can have funding to do that. But again, staying within the existing available funding. And so back again, I'm coming here recommending that you approve the master plan, as this will give us a good roadmap, and that you approve us proceeding forward with a phase one design for the veterans and the Nimitz Park.
Okay. So do I have anybody? I'm sorry? I'm asking if you have any more questions. All right. One more question.
On the playground side, you did say that you were going to put in, I'm assuming kind of like that rubber, so like.
Absolutely.
The only reason I asked that question, because in that picture you just had up there, it was crushed granite.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that this is truly going to be ADA compliant, because right now there's a sign out there that says it's ADA compliant with wood chips.
Yeah.
And
that's ADA compliant back in the 60s. Or whenever the playground was set. No, it's going to be that. And would you like Megan to speak a little bit about the floor for the...
So our goal with that is to make it as inclusive and as ADA accessible as possible. The national motion in parks is to make an inclusive park that all individuals and constituents can come to. In this master plan, we have not, picked out equipment. We have not gone through the exact what is going to be in that playground. That'll come with the design, but the goal is to be ADA compliant and inclusive.
And one more thing I would like to add, as we move forward with the design, I'll be working very closely with our Parks Commission, so they are 100% invested in this design that we move forward with.
So do I have
And
a
I
mo-
really appreciate that trust and know that I take it very seriously.
I think making these first steps forward for the park improvements, making it compliant, really shows to when we go out for the grant that we are serious about Q of L here in Cibolo, that having inclusive spaces and creating and building community, outdoor health and wellness community is critical and important to us, so much so that we're willing to put the, what did you say,
2.3 million.
2.13 million into investing in these facilities for our citizens. So does anybody want to?
Make a motion to approve 11A.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Where's my voting thing? Thank you very much for all the work you've been doing on this.
Thank you.
11B, discussion action on approving funding for the Old Town Downtown Lighting Improvements LED lantern toppers as recommended by the Cibolo Economic Development Corporation. Mr. Harden, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. On the heels of placemaking initiatives, I bring you a approved initiative from the Cibolo Economic Development Corporation. We've heard our business owners, we've heard our elected officials, we've heard our citizens. Lighting is an issue in Old Town, and our EDC board has taken it upon themselves in conjunction with the elected officials, with you all, to prioritize safety in our Old Town district between funding a Old Town study, which is going on currently, downtown banner updates to improve placemaking, and the Main Street beacon lighting, which Councilwoman Roberts attended that meeting to speak upon that, and not to mention the numerous big grants that have been awarded to our businesses in our Old Town. This request is in conjunction with working internally with planning and public works and everything. So presented to the EDC board is a lighting fixture to replace what we have currently with an LED light. I do not have a presentation in there, but I highlighted this in your packet. This top one right here will be the one. We're basically replacing like for like, but upgrading the technology. It'll be an LED light that produces more lumens, and it can be directed to the specific areas of where the light needs to go, not just a full circle. And we've been lucky enough to work with the Public Works Department. They've volunteered to install these, so we're saving cost on that. All we're seeking is a motion to approve the funding. Anything over $15,000 that the EDC board approves comes before this body for a recommendation of approval.
Any questions? Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve 11B, funding for Old Town downtown lighting improvements, LED lantern toppers as recommended by the Cibolo Economic Development Corporation.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. 11C, discussion action on evaluation process for council-appointed positions, city manager, city secretary, city attorney, municipal court judge. That would be myself and Councilwoman Patterson and Councilwoman Brown. Attached to your packet, there was a number of evaluation forms. In the past, we have not had any written evaluation forms that I can find or that were provided to me. And so when I went looking to create evaluation forms for all of the employees I came before you and asked you guys if you wanted to do it in like a workshop, and you said, no, just please do it and email it to us. So I worked with Councilwoman Brown and Councilwoman Patterson. I always want to call you Ellen, Councilwoman Ellen. But we have come up with several different forms for you. And so I guess, do you want to go over the memo to Council, Ms. Brown, Councilwoman Brown?
So I wanted to formally present for your review and consideration the newly developed evaluation system for council-appointed positions. This item is being placed on the public agenda to ensure full transparency and visibility to the community regarding how performance is evaluated for these critical leadership roles. This approach represents a more structured, consistent, and accountable framework than prior processes and reflects our commitment to strengthening governance and public trust. So we have a proposed framework. The proposed evaluation system is designed to ensure that all council-appointed roles are evaluated thoroughly through a process that is aligned with the city charter responsibilities, their job descriptions, based on measurable, objective performance metrics, consistent across all council-appointed positions, transparent, structured, and defensible. The roles that are included in this evaluation system: city manager, city attorney, city secretary, and city judge. The framework ensures that evaluations are not based on perception, but on clearly defined expectations tied to both legal responsibilities and professional performance standards. So we are committed to transparency. So this evaluation system is intentionally being introduced in a public setting to provide clear visibility to our residents on how leadership performance is assessed, reinforce accountability for council-appointed positions, and establish a repeatable and transparent process for future evaluation cycles. This marks a significant step forward to ensuring that our process reflects the level of responsibility and public investment entrusted to these roles. So the evaluation process overview: there will be a self and peer assessment for each leader. The council will score there'll be a scoring period for council, which will follow the completion of the self-assessments. The compilation of results: staff will compile individual council evaluations, and final evaluation discussion to be scheduled following that compilation. Council members are asked to review the proposed timeline and process to provide direction to ensure alignment and efficiency. Each council member will complete evaluations independently, ensuring an objective and balanced assessment. Evaluation tools and discussion format: there will be a matrix-based evaluation discussion tool that has been developed for each position. Each section includes clear guidance and scoring criteria. And the mayor and I will provide an overview of the tools at that facilitated discussion. These tools are designed to keep the process focused, consistent, and aligned with expectations. So I requested that they review and input all attached materials that were in the working draft. We respectfully request that council members review all documents thoroughly, provide us the feedback and recommended edits, and mark up documents as needed for refinement. Our goal is to review the timeline and finalize a strong, standardized evaluation system that can be used consistently moving forward. Given the guidance of these roles and their impact to our community, it is essential that we implement a clear, objective, and transparent evaluation process.
So if I start with the municipal judge evaluation, the municipal judge's performance evaluation is based on Ordinance 1267, where the requirements are outlined, and it is performance-based in terms of also some of the things that Councilwoman Patterson had brought out. Would you like to speak on that now? You don't have to. Okay. All right, so what we did is we looked at categories in which to score. First, I would like to say we have never had a process where we have evaluated based on our ordinance requirements or our charter requirements or anything even remote. We have no written evaluation on our employees. So this would go into our actual system, and each and every council person would then be scoring the judge through the personnel system. I forget what it's called. Express evaluation that would collect and retain that data over a number of years, and that as needing to be modified by council could be modified with the assistance of the Human Resource Department. So if you look at category 1, first you have to find out what we're required to judge him by on Ordinance 126. And we also need to know that evaluating a judge has some other criterias that we're not allowed to judge him on. So the legal qualifications and appointment compliance would be that he maintains a license as an attorney in good, just very basic things, meets the residency and citizenship requirements of the ordinance, maintains required legal experience qualifications per the ordinance, and serves within the appointed term and conditions set by our council in that ordinance. So this would basically be a ranking, a credentialing ranking that whoever our credentialing staff member is in the city hall would be the person that would credential. Right? We would need to ensure that those credentials happen. Then judicial conduct and courtroom management would be provided this section, this category 2. Let me back up. In category 1, that would be provided to council to verify, but we would do it through the credentialing office of the city of secretary. So under category 2, this category, all of these questions and a ranking would be provided to council and the peer review by the city secretary's office and the city attorney's office. So we as a council would rank them based on what their peer reviews look like and on our own assessment. Then the keys to that are like, do they have fair proceedings? Are they conducted professionally? Questions like that. Category 3 would be provided to council and also peer reviewed by the city secretary's office. Now, she has staff that works in that environment, so it would be basically a peer review in that capacity that would come back to council, and we would rate them based on that peer review. Under category 4, which is compliance records and legal oversight, that would be provided to us to evaluate on and peer reviewed by the city secretary. So that would be, is the court operating in full compliance? Is all the scheduling taking place? All of those kinds of things. But we would also evaluate after we receive the peer review. Category 5 is communication and coordination. This would be to council and peer reviewed through our city secretary's office, and we would have a scoring, which would be 5 through 1. Obviously, 5 would be exceeds expectations, and 1 would be below. So that would be the court judge, and that would be done online. We would receive those online peer reviews, and then we could sit down as individuals, as a body or as individuals and input the data from that capacity. That would be the question that I have. Would you want to evaluate the municipal court judge as a body in executive session? Or would you prefer to just do your data input and it scores a median evaluation? Any comments?
I'd like it to be as a group.
Okay.
For us to score that as a group.
I think with the municipal judge, there's a lot of, we don't interact with him except when he comes here to get appointed. So there's not a lot of this that we know. So getting the peer review is helpful, but if there's a way to get data, to get complaints, because any complaints have to be registered with the state or go through the city somehow. So if there's a way that we can identify what data we would need for this evaluation, that would be helpful, because this is not someone like Mr. Reed or the city secretary that we're interacting with all the time.
The peer review would be where you would get the complaints and the issues, it would be in your peer review. I mean, you could go, we could
Question.
also create a council board. Now, we're on a time crunch.
Right.
Because we are required to produce an evaluation for these by May 31st.
No, I'm good with moving forward with anything at this point because we don't have anything. But just looking at category 2, conducts court proceedings with professionalism and decorum. Has any of us sat in on a court?
So
No.
that would be.
Maintains impartiality and independence, applies laws consistently and appropriately, controls courtroom effectively and maintains order, treats all participants with fairness and respect. Those are not things that we see. So it would be a peer review.
From the attorney and the city
Right,
secretary's
but
office.
that's like every single one of these. So it's not really our evaluation, it's our review of what other people think of the judge. So I don't know how to, or what type of data we're even able to get, like the number of cases seen, are they done timely, that kind of stuff maybe.
I do have a question.
But, I mean, I'm glad to move forward with this and try it out. I think in theory, it's great if we interacted with him more, but there's a lot of this that we just, most of it, we don't know.
We're required by the charter to create a review, so.
Again, as I stated, I am not arguing. This is a review. I'm happy to move forward with it, as I've already said. I'm just pointing out that this is not information that we actively have. So if we do move forward with this, which again, I'm okay with, we need to just see what kind of data we can get so that we have something to base it off of other than just peer reviews. Peer reviews are great, but if we're supposed to be evaluating, all we're doing is combining peer reviews and saying,
We
think that review is good."
can commit, we can create a committee that does an interaction and evaluation, like a subcommittee that goes in and to court, I don't know, once a quarter or something, and can do the evaluation that way. Because we can't all 7 go like.
No, and that would be crazy.
And that's the thing, we're just here.
And they're not recorded.
We're here reviewing it. That constructive criticism, we'll take it back and we can do something with that. But this is the first time you all are seeing this.
Right.
And so you're adding your input and thank you for that. My question is, when there is some type of complaint of some sort, where does that go?
There's a judicial board of conduct for serious complaints. I'm not sure if there's an internal.
Yeah, so where does it start? That would be the
Well,
question.
I mean, I don't think we're allowed to like evaluate his judicial complaints. I think that falls under the jurisdiction of another entity.
So it's not about evaluating it. It's about whether he has them or not.
Yes.
Okay.
So we were careful.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
does
And of course, it will be run through HR and
Yeah.
the attorney.
I think this, again, this is great. I'm just trying to think proactively.
Ms. Patterson did the evaluation, if you want to kind of give her the information that you were able to glean.
I can just share like all the data that we are able to pull. So we were able to get 3 years worth of data on the different types of violations each year. So you can see if they're increasing or decreasing. You can have it broken down by department. So animal control, code enforcement, the municipal court, the police department, as well as the filed cases each year, the case disposition. So why were they dismissed, the reason for it. I even ran like a filed versus completed versus dismissal rate by year. So you can see, is that increasing? Are we on trend with amount of cases that are dismissed each year? And looking at the different types of dismissals and dismissals by department. So that is data that we do have access to as council so that we can make some of those informed decisions when we're looking at this, and even broke down like the revenue and where it's coming from by those charges. And then you can see over time. Yeah, sorry. Yep.
We would not consider revenue as that would not be considered.
Okay.
Does that kind of answer your question? All right, fantastic.
Awesome.
The next one that I would like to go over is the legal services, the performance evaluation of the city attorney. This one is a little bit more complex because, again, like Councilwoman Cunningham has pointed out, we don't always have the interaction for the legal firm that we hire. So we tried to break it down into categories. Again, this is engagement based on the engagement letter alignment. In other words, our engagement letter with them, their role base, and then their service delivery. That's what we try to to do it on. So under category 1, this would be the city attorney oversight and advisory. This is provided to council and peer reviewed through the city managers and the city secretary's office. So we would have, again, peer reviews on that. Like, is the city receiving clear, collaborative, and complete legal guidance? Category 2 is council meeting attorney. This is meeting support. This would be provided to, obviously, to us only because we're the council. And that, did council receive effective legal support during our meetings? And category 3 would be municipal court prosecution because our attorney contract covers our prosecutors and court operations. So this would be provided to us and peer reviewed through the city secretary and the judge. So again, it's one of those issues that.
No, I had a question about category 3, and this may be a Mr. Santee question. Do you personally oversee as municipal court prosecutor, or is there someone else at your firm that does that?
So, yeah, ultimately, I'm responsible for the prosecutor.
Okay.
So, one of the things when the mayor was going through this with me, one of the frustrations we can have, though, is if we don't hear anything, right? So, I check in. We have weekly meetings with the attorneys who are doing work for the clients. But when issues arise, it depends on where those complaints go or if there's problems or delays. And so I welcomed this. I was like, yeah, I need to get that kind of feedback if I'm not getting it on a regular basis, because too often we hear about it when it's too late to do anything about it. So I want to hear about issues with the prosecutor at the earliest possible moment. The other challenge is that you may not have the same, even though we strive to have the same prosecutor every time, it's not always the case because of just scheduling or court dates that get moved. And so it's also important that when that feedback comes, if they know the name of the prosecutor, it's helpful, because it could have been a one-off that caused a problem because they weren't familiar.
So with that being said, my second question is this evaluation supposed to be for an individual, Mr. Santee, as our city attorney, or for the firm as a whole?
It has to be for the whole firm as a whole.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
And so that's, these seem like overarching components, and they are, like, we sat down at the table with each of the employees, and they participated in how we do this. And I think all of them were appreciative of how fact-based we were trying, and performance-based that we were trying to make it. So it wasn't like we just did this in a vacuum. We did include them in the process. So again, the municipal court, as you said, he would like to have that. The attorney firm would like to have how are their prosecutors doing. It's a component of their position. And so there's kind of like a little bit of an outline in there of what performance standards for the prosecution would look like. And again, these are things that we can have discussion with the attorney if we ever have issues, or if there is some problem, we can look for clarity in those performance-based, non-emotional or personal-based kind of issues. We have Category 4, which is litigation support or special legal matters. This would be provided to council and peer reviewed with the city manager, because there are all different kinds of litigation matters that may come up. And so this would be an overarching kind of evaluation on that. Now we can, as we utilize this, obviously we will refine it. This is a, first punch, we're punching up. But it's better than nothing, right? And that would be, litigation support would be provided to us and peer reviewed through the city manager. General legal support, this would be firm-wide services. This evaluation would be provided by us, the council, and peer reviewed through the city manager and the city secretary's office, because they have an overarching relationship with the city attorney as well. And yes.
On Category 5, I would recommend timeliness. I don't see a question specific to timeliness under general legal support. I know in the past, not with this firm, but in the past, that's been something that we've heard from staff, is that they requested something and it took months and months and months to get it back. So I just want to make sure that we are incorporating timeliness somewhere into this, making sure that requests are being responded to timely.
Thank you.
So you want that under general legal
I
support?
think that's where it would fit, but I'm
Okay.
open to whatever y'all think.
No, I will add it under general legal support, and I will say provides, I'll,
Responses or whatever, timely.
Yeah, timely.
Timely follow through,
Okay.
however y'all want to word it.
so we'll make that clear that it is responses from the attorney to council, or from the attorney to,
Council or to staff, I think under general, if I'm understanding
yes,
the way.
provides
The general would be more to. kind of
timely
staff.
responses.
Yeah.
Provides timely responses. It's a little
Got it.
vague, but we'll
Yeah, it
wordsmith it. We'll wordsmith it. A reasonable, I don't know what that would look like, but we will wordsmith it.
Perfect.
Okay. Then, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Then going on to the city manager. The city manager's evaluation is based on charter alignment, his job description, references, and data-driven metrics, right? So we would have an evaluation period. This does not take the place of the city manager's 360 evaluations. So he would still be getting his 360 evaluations up and down as he did before. This would be metrics-based on charter requirements and on the job description performance. And so under governance and council support, this is under charter heavy, right? This would be, we tried to list out each of the charter components. They're pretty self-explanatory. They're not anything that you would be surprised about. We might have differences of opinion about the ranking, hence the need for maybe a way of inputting it and having a median come out, right? Did council have everything it needed to make an informed decision, right? If requested additional information, was it provided at a subsequent council meeting or was there a response, right? Basically, that kind of thing. Under category 2, that would be strategic execution and policy implementation. Again, this is a lot of core charter responsibilities, okay? One job description, which is problems are identified early and brought forward with solutions, but also policy improvements and alternatives are recommended when needed, kind of similar, but that's both in the charter review and the job description. So we wanted to capture both. Even though they're kind of the same thing, we thought that they were different enough to require, like you could have one, you know what I'm saying? So, yes, thank you. Category 3 is financial management and stewardship, a lot of charter requirements. And again, I think this is an important step. Category 4, I'm going to start to kind of speed up because I don't want to, I want to make a public presentation of this, but I also don't want to spend all night here. Category 4 is organizational and leadership, both charter and job description. Category 5, community and infrastructure and service delivery, mostly charter, but some job description. All right, and then there would be strength or narrative evaluation processes. I'm not a huge fan of these because they can be personal, and so there would be requirements or restriction on strengths, like it would have to be results-based. Areas of improvement, it would have to have specific measurable improvements. It wouldn't like, I don't like the way he does this. That's not helpful, right? So I would like him to be able to accomplish this by end of second quarter or what have you. So that would be the recommendations for improvement, council priorities for next evaluation period. That way he has good feedback from us about what our priorities are. Yes, Councilwoman Brown.
No, I just wanted to ask council to continue to read this after we leave here. I know we don't want to stay on this topic too much longer, but what we have structured here is a multi-layer evaluation framework for our positions that we rate, and that's to strengthen accountability, alignment, and overall leadership effectiveness across the city. So we have heard from some of our residents that accountability is a huge issue, and it was something that was missing. And so that's why we came up with this evaluation framework, because we want to make sure that we're transparent with our residents and they understand what we're looking at, what our leaders are being evaluated on. So the goal is to move beyond the traditional single source evaluation model and implement this comprehensive governance-driven approach. And that provides council with more complete and accurate picture of executive leadership performance. I ask council to take this back and read exactly what we are trying to achieve, and if you have anything else to add to help us make this the best process, please do, because it matters to our voters.
Exactly. So what I just went over is an evaluation. That's the actual evaluation of where we would put in the numbers. This would go into the computer system. Each one of us would be able to evaluate him individually. And then you guys can decide whether we come together or if there's a median scorecard for it. And I'm very flexible, however council wants to do that. But there is one component of it called the final city manager performance scorecard, fully integrated. And the reason for the scorecard is because we have never done this before. This would be something that we could use, say, we have to do this by May 31st. We have to have all of this data inputted by May 31st for his evaluation per the charter, per our legal requirement. So what I was hoping is that you would be able to take the scorecard, begin to look at the scorecard, which has all of the metrics within the city manager performance evaluation, and kind of says, look at the target percentage, 5%, 95%, 48, what is 48 hours? These are kind of ideas where we get together as council about what the expectation is, because it isn't fair to the city manager if we say timely response and he thinks he has, 3 business days and we perceive it as 24 hours. Right? That's not appropriate. It's not fair. And so kind of putting this scorecard together, this metric together, and reviewing it and kind of coming together as council, then we can provide realistic and timely feedback to the city manager so he has an actual objective, not just something we can move the bar to the left or to the right, right? Because that's just, it's just not right. So that's what the scorecard is. We did the exact same thing with the city secretary. And so we're looking for discussion and action on this evaluation process. So if you are comfortable moving forward, then I can turn it over to Ms. Taupin, and she can input all of this, the scorecard and the performance evaluation, into the system. And then we can begin using it and be prepared for May 31st. So I would need a date for us to come back to do one of the actions that we would need is a date to come back as a council to sit down to do the evaluations. Pardon? We have to have it in the system by, I'm sorry, Ms. Taupin, can you tell me when you have to have it in the system by for it to be live on?
I think it would be beneficial if they heard all the timelines. Do you have them?
Yes, I told you when we met, my team is ready to get this done for you guys on your timeline.
Okay, so if you approve this, she'll get it in and we can do it in the mid-May, the second or the first May?
I think our charter, or we made the determination to do the city manager's evaluation by the end of May or in May of every
May
year.
31st.
So I think mid-May is a good target to bring it back to council. That way, if there are people who didn't complete it, it still gives us a little bit of time.
The first or second meeting in May?
Yeah, the first.
The first meeting in May. So then I would need a motion to approve these documents, unless anybody has any more suggestions with the amendment that Katie made. Have them inputted. The information, Ms. Talpin will send you out your, the scorecard first. Then we can have, I really wanted to have one more meeting where you guys went through the scorecard. But it's okay if we don't. It's okay if we don't.
I liked this. I thought the scorecard was great.
Okay.
I had 3. Oh, I'm sorry. You were going to
Oh,
speak.
it's okay. I was just going to say, I think the scorecard's good too, but I would just look over where it says 100% on multiple areas. I know that's like, the thing is like 100% perfect all the time. I just want to know, is that really exceeding expectations being at 100%, or would it be like over 98% is exceeding expectations? So that's just one thing, because we want to make sure that when we are creating these, that it isn't so far out of reach that we're not going to be able to achieve that. And even like, I'm an employee, I have a job. Exceeding expectations for us is not at 100% because that's deemed unattainable. And
I
so that
think
was
the
only thing.
target, that's why I wanted to kind of meet with you guys on the target. Like, I would love it if Mr. Reed could be perfect 100% of the time. I'm sure he would too. I'm sure his spouse would.
That's a good point. What does that number look like?
Yeah, so I would
Yeah,
say
I
that
think
would
that
just
would be what we should discuss, what that number looks like, but.
So, you know, because I want to be as fact-based as we can be, as data-driven as we can be. So I
Absolutely.
agree with you. That's why I wanted to come back on the scorecard, because I was like, this is how, what I was getting in production and looking at various ways to rank him.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree with you, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't I like the idea of it, but I needed more, I really wanted more input than what we had. But we also were crunched for time, and, you know,
Yeah.
you don't need to have a special workshop just for this, so.
Yeah, and I like that we can submit everything individually because our interactions with city staff are going to differ.
Right.
And I like where it's like kind of pairing everyone together and then seeing, okay, what was that average score between all of us? And then we can still have that discussion so that we can kind of understand where we're all coming from with this, but still that we're each individually doing it.
Correct. Okay, so I would want an action to bring it back in the first meeting of May, and maybe an action to bring it back in April for just the scorecard? Or do you guys just want to send in your emails? Would you rather have discussion? What do you?
I think that kind of depends on our timeline. I have some other just notes. I will hand it over to y'all, but I think that what we have right here is good for now.
Okay.
We can get through this year, and then I think that we need to put on
Yes.
our calendar for June or July that we revisit this and we update it. And then after we update it with any of the quirks that we figure out during this process, then we present it to the staff. And that's like their planning performance evaluation where they know what the expectations are that they're going to have for the next year.
Yes, and I had actually talked about doing it like quarterly because it's such a new process for this council. Again, as long as it's charter-based and job description-based, then I feel comfortable with that. If we get outside of those boundaries, I think we should, make sure that we stay in that. So, so again, the action would be to bring it back. I will, if you approve this, for me to let Ms. Talpin put it in, and for us to bring it back the first meeting in May. And then Ms. Talpin, once it's in, she'll send it to us and the evaluation can be done. And then can they change it once they've submitted it, Ms. Talpin?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Okay, so let's say that you input it and then the council person goes and does their evaluation, then they think, oh, I didn't remember this. Can they go back and change it for a grace period of time?
Sorry, it is saved each time you're working in it, and then when you submit the official, then if you want to change something, you need to let my team know.
Okay. Fantastic. So, yes, ma'am.
So when I was referring to timeline, the self-assessment period, April 13th through the 24th. Council received the info from the self-assessment 27 April through 10 May. Council scoring period would be 10 May through the 25th, through May 25th. I think that's what we said. And then the compilation of results, 25 May through 28th. Final evaluation in executive session agree upon May 31st, before May 31st.
Right, in
So-
case some crazy thing comes out that we weren't expecting.
And so I'm saying that because we're already in the self-assessment period, and
She said she's ready.
she's ready, okay, so we need to.
So once we get all of that in, she will, as long as we approve it, she'll put it in, she'll send the self-assessments out.
Perfect.
Or the peer review, and so, all right.
Motion to approve. I make a motion to approve the performance evaluations presented tonight with the addition of timeliness to the attorney's performance evaluation, and to have this brought back the first meeting in May.
I second.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Moving on to 11D, discussion action for City Council to approve the FY26 Capital Improvements Program. Mr. Gomez. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So tonight we're bringing the FY26 CIP program for Council's approval. The reason we're doing this is because back in July, when we had presented the original plan for FY26, we had the FM 1103 project, the $3.4 million that we were going to have to provide them for that project. Since that time, that project has pushed to FY27, which created capacity in FY26. At the March 28th Strategic Management Workshop, I presented council with our FY26 CIP plan. A few of those projects are going to be the PD AC repair and roof repair that need to be done. The radio replacement for PD and fire, starting the Wiener Road design, traffic signal improvements that are much needed, and payment condition index survey. Parks equipment, a paving machine for our fleet, for our streets department, and the $750,000 for park renovations. All these in total add up to $4.5 million, which is what we had available for FY26. If council has any questions on our FY26 program, I'll take those now.
I'd like to know what the park equipment is.
So the parks equipment includes there's a 22-foot trailer, a 60-inch mower, and a 82-inch mower. Any other questions? Yes,
So
ma'am.
we actually authorized the funds for these two particular mowers and trailers previously, last year. And they still have not been purchased, and now you're asking us to allow you to purchase them now because you have excess money. Why were they not purchased when it was approved by council the first time?
So in last year's CIP program, City Council approved us to buy 2 mowers for our Parks Department. We did buy those 2 mowers in FY24. Those were utilizing the FY25 budget. When we presented this to council, we had these 2 mowers actually in FY27. But like I said, since we have the capacity available now, we're able to move items up into FY26. We're requesting to purchase them this year. So when we gave that presentation in July, we gave our 5-year fleet program to City Council for our CIP program, which included police and fire. We had all the vehicles and equipment that we wanted to purchase over the next 5 years, and these were part of those pieces of equipment.
So we'll have 4 mowers.
Yes, we'll have
Okay.
4 new mowers in our Parks Department and a 22-foot
The 2 that
trailer.
we just purchased, and then 2 more.
Yes.
And then whatever else is laying around.
Yes.
Okay. I'm very excited that the pavement study is on here. I've been asking for them forever. I feel like a
Yes.
broken record.
We have, so all these items, we're ready to go. We have proposals. I'm working with PD and Fire right now to finalize a proposal for the radio replacement. So as soon as this gets approved and Ms. Miranda comes to City Council on the 28th, we'll be bringing it back to Council in the first meeting in May to get a lot of these approved so we can start on these projects.
And I'll make a motion to approve 11D.
Have a motion and a second. Thank you. (11E) discussion action to approve an additional service request with Icon Consulting Group LLC for professional design services for the Public Safety Facilities Project in the amount not to exceed $150,045 and authorize the city manager to execute the associated change order for $150,045. Mr. Huckins. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and Council. The additional service request before you tonight is to address some issues, some items needed to update the plans for the public safety facility on Bolton Road. The conceptual design of this facility began in late 2020 when we hired Icon Consulting Group to create the design of the facility. At the time when the design was under development, there were some unknowns that we knew we were going to have to address later in the project, such as wastewater and land acquisition. In the November 2024 bond election that voters approved, there was funding requested to address future design changes and modifications. Since the original design of the facility, the city has completed the comprehensive master plan, the future land use map, and committed to those new plans. We're asking council this evening to approve the additional service request from Icon in the amount of $150,045 to design and incorporate an on-site septic system to be used until the wastewater line along Bolton Road is operational. Address the land acquisition to align the exit driveway to Stolte Road for a future traffic signal of Bolton and Stolte intersection. Modify the site plan to accommodate the future right-of-way needed along Bolton Road for when it's expanded to a major arterial road, and then eliminate the rear drive that was initially proposed to go from the public safety facility to the I-10 frontage road. The funding for this additional service request comes from the FY25 general obligation bond issued in March of 2025. That was in the amount of $1 million for design work, surveys, and land acquisition.
Any questions?
I move to approve the additional service request with Iconic Consulting Group LLC for professional design services for the Public Safety Facility Fire Station Number 4 project in an amount not to exceed $150,045 and authorize the city manager to execute the associated change order for $150,045.
I second that.
They're always listening. They're always listening. Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Discussion action on updating the future land use map along portions of FM 78 and the IH-10 corridors to reflect neighborhood, commercial, regional activity center, or light industrial business park place types. All right, I placed this on the agenda to have a discussion about not comprehensive land types, but to be more selective for some properties along FM 78 that we've had inquiries about, and some properties along 10 that may be better suited for a different kind of land use. Very localized, compartmentalized changes that would serve the needs. Is Rick going to speak on this? Okay. Mr. Vasquez is going to kind of explain how that process would be supported with data that we have in the past, and how we would move forward if you chose to take a look at that. and why?
Mayor and council, the city of Cibolo's future land use plan was adopted in September of 2024. Those plans typically have a 5-year shelf life, and then you should go back and look at them and make sure that your assumptions are still valid and that the underlying market dynamics are still valid, and you continue to use that plan. The process was kicked off back in March of 2023 to adopt a land use plan as well as work on the city's comprehensive master plan and to develop place types for the city. It was going back and looking at the records, it was a comprehensive approach, involved the City Council, the Economic Development Corporation, and the Planning and Zoning Commission were all involved in the process of developing your comprehensive plan and your future land use map. There was extensive public outreach, there were surveys, there were committees created, there were joint meetings, a lot of input was gathered, and then a vision, and then ultimately a plan. But plans are not written in stone. You can go back and take a look at them and see if the assumptions are still valid and if they hold. I-10 is experiencing some changes, and we can go back and look if there's a need to adjust some of your future land use categories along I-10. We can go through the Planning and Zoning Commission as an initial step, determine what that scope of that review will be. We can also look at 78 to see if there's any changes that have surfaced. We know we have a couple of significant projects along I-10 that would merit a review along I-10. So with that, we would recommend taking, if the council directs us to proceed, we'll start with the Planning and Zoning Commission and then go from there.
Would it be that it would change? It would be that there would be discussion about some movement that or some entities that have approached the city? Would it be a good fit? Is it something that is currently in alignment with how the EDC, the Planning and Zoning, and Council perceives it, so that we don't miss an opportunity because we haven't had a discussion, because we're siloed outside of the EDC, or because we're siloed outside of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And so it's not saying that we would change that land, but that it would begin a discussion on very targeted locations along the FM, a small portion along the FM 78 corridor, where the EDC may be able to communicate to you some of its activity and whether or not the community feels that that's a good fit, and along I-10 and some of its activity and whether the community feels that that's a good fit, because it's very inviting to economic development, or especially to businesses that are looking to come to the city of Cibolo for the land use to be available. And I think that that's something worth having a conversation about. Doesn't mean we would.
So is this about us having the conversation and what areas to potentially update?
Well, I tried to keep it very specific to the economic development plan and the economic development lookers. And so that would be something that I would want us as a council not to be siloed. Like, you need that information. Council needs to be aware of what's happening in the economic development aspect of it, and decide, is that something that we want as a community to bring there? Is that some kind of land use that we would actually want to bring there? And so I just didn't want us to miss an opportunity to have that discussion, and as a collaborative group, as opposed to each siloed individual group. So that's what the action would be to go ahead and have Mr. Vasquez pull all three of us together, first steps first, to begin having a more collaborative conversation. Not necessarily changing it, but at least beginning to have that conversation specifically for the FM 78 and I-10 corridor, where we have had forward momentum.
Mayor, just to add, this is not initiating to the council, this is not
Right.
initiating a zone change. This is initiating
Discussion.
A review of your future land use map to determine if there's some market dynamics that indicate that there should be an amendment.
Correct.
I would like to make a motion for us to start the discussion with Mr. Vasquez to look at the amendment possibilities of our flume.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Discussions from council members that have attended seminars, events, or meetings. Mr. McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. So since we approved the scholarship, meeting with a lot of local business owners, myself, and now Ms. Roberts as well, with our Old Town Coalition, trying to solicit sponsors. But beyond that, also speaking to these business owners, kind of seeing what the status of their business are, especially our businesses up along 1103, up near the Turning Stone development that are being impacted by the construction there, and just kind of seeing not necessarily what the city can do, but what resources they have available. I've been doing a lot of business-to-business introductions for some of our businesses there, with contacts I know that offer services that would be beneficial to them. And for the last month and a half, I've been planning Fiesta, so I've been meeting with a lot of our partnering membership organizations and pitching opportunities for them to either find economic opportunities in Cibolo, or at least giving them reasons to come out here and spend money. When these organizations come out to Randolph and they ask for a place for lunch, I'd kindly direct them into Old Town. But that's really what I've been up to the last few weeks, is just business meetings with our local businesses and outside organizations, trying to see if there's collaboration opportunities from neighboring cities with our businesses here.
Great, thank you. Mr. Roberts?
Okay. I attended the Vietnam War Veteran Award ceremony recognizing a Cibolo veteran for his service. I also attended the Pinwheels for Child Abuse Prevention Month, joined the elected officials SCU ISD tour regarding their upcoming bond. So again, encourage residents, try to attend those tours, information sessions to really learn how those investments are going to help prepare our students. I also attended the Public Policy Summit. Couple key discussions that were had there is really just the changing economic landscape. They spoke about how higher education and our schools are adapting, how AI is increasingly being used as a tool, and it's going to impact nearly every discipline. I attended some sessions on public safety, so emphasizing that law enforcement needs proper resources and support to keep our community safe, as well as some discussions on national security and voter behavior trends. I was at the CCMA tour the other day. I completed 2 TML classes. I was able to do my immersion briefing with CPD, followed by a ride-along. And so it gave a really good opportunity to see firsthand how quickly our officers have to respond to different changing situations. So I know a lot of residents often say like, oh, we want to see them patrolling more, and we were out patrolling, and then we got a call. And we got a call that required backup from the other 2 patrol officers. So that one incident that fast required all of them to be out there at that time. So I told Chief earlier, the officers were amazing. I got to ride with 2 different ones. I think they did a fantastic job explaining things. They did a fantastic job because when we arrived on scene, the patrol car was swarmed. I mean, there was a couple hundred people out there to the incident they responded to, so I think they did a fantastic job. Looking forward to doing more ride-alongs in the future, but I just wanted to make sure our residents truly understand that I know we want to see them patrolling through our neighborhoods more. We have a very lean force, and something just that quick all of a sudden took 3 patrol officers out to handle that situation for quite some time. But thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Councilwoman Cunningham.
I have been doing several different sessions online, so the TML ones, I'm working through those. The ones that Valerie had emailed us that said we could have access to those. I've also done a couple of sessions, one on AI in cities, and there was a city that had like a AI data breach or something that they had to respond to, so it was about their response and how they came together and created a internal task force to deal with that. It's very interesting. I've seen 2 sessions now on data centers. One of them was kind of the other one was pretty good. There's a book that I started reading that I recommend to everyone. It's called Evicted, and it's about housing and how it's very tenuous and that it doesn't take much to push someone into homelessness. We don't have a lot of that here in Cibolo, but with different things happening, and you never know what could happen. So it's a very good book to kind of put things into perspective on things that can happen within a city. I have my office hour. I call them my office hours. It's when I drive home from work. I talk to people that have called me or have requested to talk about different things in my car. So I've spoken to several residents, met with Tri-County, a small group from Tri-County. I'm sorry, my allergies are killing me right this second. No, it just like hit me all at once, and now it looks like I'm crying. I'm not. Tri-County on a couple of different opportunities that they may want to partner with us on a few different things, so that's exciting. And then every now and then I do neighborhood drive-throughs where I go through and I look at the sidewalks, streets, potholes, lights, things like that, and see if any of the open tickets on C-Click Fix have been resolved, or if there's new things to report, then I report them. So I did neighborhood drive-bys on 2 neighborhoods. So lots of kind of behind-the-scenes stuff.
Thank you. Ms. Roberts, Councilwoman Roberts.
I just got back from a TML Leadership Academy training, and that was the first part. The second part will be in May, and then I will have all my hours to receive my CMO. Yay! CRWA, we were supposed to have a meeting yesterday. It did get postponed until next Monday, the 20th, and we're also having the CRWA budget meeting on the 20th. So I'll have lots of good information for y'all at the end of the month. We do have the disc golf going out on at Solar Park this weekend, so let's all go out there and learn how to throw a frisbee. I know it's not a frisbee. But because I actually got one. They're little. They're so cute, though. But yeah, everybody go out there and support that. And then just been able to go and attend into some different businesses, again, promoting the scholarship opportunities that are coming up for our students here in Cibolo. That's it.
Councilwoman Brown.
Felt awkward because I didn't have a whole lot to do. But the past couple of weeks has been full of meaningful engagement, learning, and serving the city of Cibolo. Had the opportunity to attend the Texas Policy Summit, which was both insightful and very eye-opening for me. While I found myself in spaces that don't always reflect my everyday environment, I was able to gain a different perspective and engaged in conversations that challenged me to think more broadly. In those moments, I was reminded that meaningful progress comes from finding common ground, no matter the situation. Even in rooms where there are only 4 people who look or think like me, there's always an opportunity to connect on shared values with others, especially when it focuses on improving the lives of the communities in which we serve. My strongest takeaways from that summit was the distinction between political noise and real influence. While conversations can be loud and constant, they don't move people. What truly drives change is real-life concerns, like how to solve those issues related to, issues relating to maybe roads or water and what that looks like in the future. There was a strong emphasis as well on community, family, and stability, and I appreciate Councilwoman Stevens and Mayor Latimer, where we knew that we couldn't attend all the different sessions. We divided and conquered and shared notes, and that was beautiful. Also, during this week, I visited a place called SAHRC, which is Social Health Research Center. And what they do is they come in and they teach communities about obesity and diabetes. And they would love to come into the city of Cibolo or have an opportunity to come and pour into our community. And I look forward to kind of bringing that together through the youth. I think the youth event that's coming up might be a great time and space for them to, it's canceled. That's awful. That's so awful. Well, we'll find another opportunity for them to do that. I also participated in a few subcommittees and subcommittee meetings this past couple weeks. It's important for us to move forward through collaboration and thoughtful discussion. Had the opportunity to attend the elected officials tour of the schools. Also, I spent time alongside our city manager and Councilwoman Stevens and Mayor Latimer addressing residential concerns on Deer Creek. The experience was incredibly valuable to me as a new councilwoman, as it provided a deeper understanding of infrastructure elements like roadways and stripings and things like that. So I really appreciate that and that education. And also, the coming together with the developers regarding potential upcoming developments in our city. To my knowledge, that level of early engagement is something that hasn't happened historically. I mean, from what I gathered from the conversation. So I appreciate that experience and that proactive approach to, I think that it's critical for ongoing repeated development challenges in the past to make sure that we grow past that and do and be more responsible and thoughtful and focus on how that serves our residents. So that is my update.
Okay, did all the luncheons, did lots of ribbon cuttings, met with our wonderful fire chief, lots of stuff, but I want to talk about the Texas Policy Summit because I think it's important that you understand what it means for Cibolo. I attended this policy summit to understand what in the heck the conversations were that were going to shape the policies at the state level. I went to listen and learn and also become frustrated and disillusioned. So I'm going to try to bring back what matters for you, the people who live here in Cibolo, based on what legislation is going to be happening at the state level. They talked about education, schools, and the local impact, talking about the negative influences, our school district. They talked about TASB. They talked about all of the things negative about public schools. And so what that made me do is come back to say our school district is a key partner here in Cibolo. It affects our children, our property values, and our ability to attract employers. And with the school bond coming up, voters need to pay attention. There are a lot of rhetorical rhetoric going around about public schools, but I am proud to say that SCUCISD is doing a good job. And I think that the local impact of that kind of state rhetoric is harmful to our children here in Cibolo. We need to be careful about using that. I'm not saying that some of the, like the founders of Classical Academy and Legacy Homes and the STEM school aren't good. I'm just saying a foundation of the fabric of our community is SCUCISD. Public safety rule and rule of law. I think here in Cibolo, we are very blessed that our community is supported by law enforcement, but as we heard here tonight, when things break down, it is the public, it's the community that feels it first, and they feel it right in their feels. I know what it's like to feel that way. And so public safety and rule of law is a conversation we need to continue to stay engaged with and not make it about somebody else. It is about the city of Cibolo. It is about how we treat our residents. It is about how we police our residents. They talked about energy, infrastructure, and growth, and I don't care what anybody said at this convention. I am deathly afraid of the brownouts that are going to happen this July, right? We need to make sure that we are participating in investing in our water and sewer and infrastructure with the partners like GVSUD. They're not optional for us, right? These are necessary for our families and our businesses. And if we want quality people, we want quality businesses to choose to live in Cibolo, we are going to have to invest in those kinds of infrastructure, energy infrastructure, and growth infrastructure, and sewer and water. They talked about the housing growth challenges, and this particular seminar made me so angry. I got up and left that talk by saying this is literally one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. Because I sat here and watched 7 people give $47 million to infrastructure for sewer systems, and the state talk about how they are doing something about that. No, we here in this community, the people of Cibolo are paying the bonds. These legislators are ensuring, our leadership is ensuring that we have the police, that we have the fire, and we are struggling to make that happen for our citizens. And we cannot allow that kind of state rhetoric to come and seep into our community. This is our community. We are Cibolo. And we give the power to the state. Got a little testy about that one. Water sustainability is something that we've all been talking about. We went to the H2O plant. We went to the Poopy plant. We're going to all the plants, right? Water is a critical component of what we have coming up, and CBLGC is an asset that we own, that decisions to be made on that are going to be coming up. So I learned a lot about the way that the conservation district law may be changing. Who knows? I guess it's a dice. But what this means for Cibolo is that across all of these discussions, one thing kept coming up to me. And I want all of the citizens to hear that there is often a gap between where the decisions are being made on Capitol Hill and where they are carried out right here in our city. And cities like Cibolo are where policy becomes reality. We are the rubber meeting the road through our infrastructure, through the boots on the ground of our firefighters with life-saving skills and our police officers who defend us. We may not be perfect, but we are the community we have to build with, and we need to make sure that we are standing up together, united to do that. What this experience reinforced in me is the need for this legislative body to be even more engaged in conversations that shape these decisions, participating in our regional partnerships, working with our state leaders. If we have to get in the car, drive up there and tell them what we feel about this, we need to do it. We need to do it in a united front, and making sure that the needs of our community are clearly understood by these state legislators, making sure that we are the voice for these people, knocking on their door, pounding on their windows, and slapping on the stickers that says Cibolo first, right here, right now. So my commitment is to stay focused on what matters and what matters to you, your family, your home, your daily life. That's our strong schools, maintaining our reliable infrastructure, ensuring our public safety, and managing growth in a way that protects our quality of life. Those are the things that we are doing day in and day out as a governing body, and I can tell you that it did not seem as a very friendly situation that we were in. So on that note, I will move on to discussion on items the council would like to see on future agendas. I want to hold off on this. I'm going to come back to 11H. We're going to go to 11I, discussion action on the review and confirmation of all upcoming special meetings and workshops, scheduling the time, date, and place of additional special meetings or workshop. Ms. Chapman.
So it's Shred Days on April 18th from 8 until noon. We'd love to have you there if you can make it. The police banquet is the following Thursday. No, the police banquet is on the following, Thursday. And then the volunteer banquet will be here in council chambers on that Friday.
On Friday.
Both start at 6 a.m. or p.m. Sorry, not 8. If anything else comes up, I'll send you a calendar invite. Shred Days is this Saturday the 18th. Police
What else is
banquet's
on
the following
Saturday?
Thursday. And then the next day after that is the volunteer banquet.
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Thursday.
The 23rd is the police, the 24th is the volunteer banquet. Also on the 18th is disc golf with the Parks Committee and the Hakerville Road cleanup. It's a busy, they're all at the same time.
So that begs the question, do we have an events calendar?
Yes, Mayor. On our website, our communication manager puts city events on there. City meetings are done by the city secretary, so we've clarified the roles.
Are all of those events on our city calendar?
I need to check, Mayor, and I can get that verified tomorrow, and if some of these events are not on
Yeah,
there.
if
we'll
you
do
wouldn't
that.
mind, I'd greatly appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. Good? Okay. Ms. Chapman, are we good? All right. 12, executive session. The council will meet in executive session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, personnel matters to discuss the following: discussion regarding the duties and responsibilities of the city manager. The time is now, what time is it? 9:29. We will convene in executive session.
away.
Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay. The time is now 10:16, and I call us back into regular session. No action was taken. We will go.
Okay. He gave you a thumbs up.
And I'm going to go directly back to 11H, discussion on items the city council would like to see on future agendas or another meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, 11I, discussion action on the review and confirmation of upcoming special meetings and/or workshops. We're going to revisit 11I. Yeah, we're going to go back and reopen 11I. 11H is discussion on items.
Okay.
Well, discussion on items the city council would like to see on future agendas. Councilwoman Patterson.
Okay. Due to the items not being correctly added to tonight's agenda, I would like a future special meeting for executive session so we can discuss the fire department personnel matters, the animal service personnel matters, and the duties and responsibilities of the city attorney.
Yes. And it is unfortunate that we are having to do that. So now, do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Aye. Aye, bye, bye.